Okay. All right. There we go. Don't know what happened there. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much, Goblin Culinary, for 14 months in a row. Want to apologize to the chat. Rudy being in the hospital. My fault. That Etsy voodoo doll made of butter and shotgun shells turned out to be legit. Oopsie poopsie. Oh, God. I completely, honestly, I heard about that yesterday. Totally fucking forgot about it. Paradoxical piece coming in hot and saying, I think Jordan was right with what he said. It's the same thing every time. Everyone says Alex Jones is finally defeated. He doesn't go away. The families don't get their money. Alex still gets his. Something more has to be done. I just don't see what the Onion is doing as a way to get the families what is due to them. So here's the thing. I think I see and I agree, but I think that two things. One, it remains to be seen what's actually going to be done with Infowars, right? Like, yeah, it could end up being something really dumb and juvenile and simple and like just a lazy parody of Alex Jones. That would be a missed opportunity. However, I think there is also uh, there's an opportunity to use this platform to twist and turn what Infowars was to be something that isn't just The Onion, that isn't just satire or parody, but something that helps to spread truth in these online spaces. Now, I don't know, and I don't think anybody who's worked in spaces dealing with or researching radicalization would have a good, concise plan on how to do that. But I think there is a hope that that could be the case. What I question the approach they've taken so far. And when it comes to the families, we know that like the families and the lawyers of the families have spoken out in support of the Onion doing this. And I think part of that is it sounds so petty, but part of that I think is a revenge or as a public service, the idea of being able to get under the skin of somebody who is as infamous but also thin-skinned as Alex Jones. Because I think they do know that, like, yeah, the families aren't going to get the money their own. Like, they will in some form or fashion, hopefully one day, but they certainly aren't getting it anytime soon. And I think there is a catharsis. There is like something you can do operationally to let these people know that people are paying attention to them, that they are being watched, that they are being hounded every step of the way. Goblin Culinarian, thank you for 25 bits. Can I share my birthday cake as a preemptive palate cleanser? Sure. Oh, wait, I cannot. No, I cannot. Let me see if I can. Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Okay. We got a lot of stuff to go through today. Damn. Looks good as hell. I do want to pull this up. We got somebody
Conservative podcaster Matt
doing
Walsh has
the
released
work on Matt Walsh, so I don't have to. I always appreciate that. We got a lot to talk about today. Angela Lansbury, Knowledge Fight subreddit. Am I able to do? Oh yeah. Not right now. Give me a second. Let me. Ooh yeah. All right, we're gonna. I'm gonna. Sorry. I've been listening to the the Magic the Gathering, like the story podcast they do, and it's yeah. So Kari, go ahead and I'm gonna sorry. We doing Asmongold appearing on on podcast? What podcast? The Magic the Gathering, like the story podcast they do, and yeah, Kari, go ahead and post the link. We doing Asmongold appearing on podcast? What podcast? Velvet Fire. Hi, DD. If I'm not here tonight, watch the VOD. Have a great stream. Go ahead and good night too. Post the link. All right. Is this? We doing Asmongold appearing on podcast? What podcast? Velvet Fire. Hi, DD. If I'm not here tonight. Okay, here we go. Watch the VOD. Have a great stream. Go ahead and we'll go over that. Post the link. All right. Is this? Oh, geez. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. All right. There we go. Alrighty. Carnell, thank you very much. That message is pinned. If y'all could go. Okay, give me 1 second. Oh, wait. Hello, baby dog. Did you have a fun walk? Is she good? Oh, good baby. Thank you, love. Asmongold on Gavin. No, are y'all are joking, right? There wasn't. Gavin Newsom's not still doing that fucking podcast shit, right? Y'all are playing with me. What flavor Celsius? I actually have one that I had opened on my desk from earlier, and then I got another one because Ko and I were coming home. So the one I just finished is mango passion fruit, and I have the dragon fruit lime. All right. So this is from. Oh. Angela Lansbury here. Ooh, they have a new limited edition flavor. There was one that I don't know where. I have to order it online, but there's like a Sprite one they made that is lemon lime, like carbonated. Oh my god. Heavenly. All right. Amphibets, thank you for tier 1 for 3 months in a row. Angela Lansbury here. I know a lot of us are processing what's going on, celebrating a great body of work, and mourning the loss of the show. It's wonderful to see how my friend's work has impacted so many lives. Closing the store due to difficulties keeping up fees while I'm not active on the site. Digital doors for the foreseeable future. But first, get the fan merch they would as it comes to a close. Adding some of the designs I was holding back in case Dan wanted to give them away. Or ones I thought might get me sued. They're not new designs, just one that Dan gave away at various periods. Licensing fee will go to charity, tallying up 2026. Pass it on to Sandy Hook Promise. That's Just everybody associated with it. Just fucking class acts, a lot of them. The Squatch has no heroes. Oh, man. That's so cute. Knowledge Fight. Somebody asking what Knowledge Fight is. Knowledge Fight is a, I mean, kind of the Alex Jones Infowars coverage podcast. They, since 2017, about have had a consistent deconstruction of Alex Jones as a person that I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that a lot of the work that went into the Sandy Hook trial and a lot of the work that went into the acquisition of Infowars by The Onion can in some way tangentially relate to Dan and Jordan of Knowledge Fight. Like they put in so much work, and particularly the scholarship and research that Dan does into just every time Alex Jones would lie, every time they would fucking be able to call him on his bullshit because he had listened to thousands, if not tens of thousands of hours of this absolute lunatic. Yeah, paradoxical piece. Dan was brought in as an expert witness. Like, it's hard to really overstate also, as much as people, I get uh I get people in the comment section always being like, you know, uh and I know they're joking, so it's not like, ooh, I'm mad about it, but calling me Timu ContraPoints or Timu Pyrocynical. And the fact of the matter is that, like, no, I struggle to think of a content creator or a writer or researcher that has informed my style of articulating information as much as Dan. Like, there's so much to how concise the work they've done over years has been. Um, like how you go and you look at the flow of videos I've done, like my video at CPAC or even the original Hate Church video, and the pacing I borrow a lot from the pacing of people like Dan and the work that they did there. So it's this surreal thing where I personally owe a little bit to this podcast. Eepy Girl, good news, bad job, gone. Yay! Prague acquired, hell yeah, and playing Monster Hunter GU for the rest of the day before responsibility starting again tomorrow. Let's go. Let's go. El Salve, thank you for $5. Downfall of Alex Jones Infowars is reminiscent of the Roman Empire, which ran well with its golden years only to collapse and destruct. Yeah, that's not, you're not wrong. Self-destruct, yeah. Yeah, it's seeing them kind of, oh, is this, there we go. Yeah, high praise from Robert Evans. Knowledge Fight was and remains one of the all-time great podcasts. It is the rarest kind of thing, a show that entertains while having a real-life impact. Dan and Jordan help defang and neuter elements of a powerful propaganda network. Excited to see what both do next. Yeah. I haven't seen anything. Mike Rothschild, there we go. End of the show. God, Mike Rothschild, phenomenal fucking writer. Silly Rob, thank you for subscribing. Adage in fantasy football: it's better to be out on a player a year too early than a year too late. That is to say, if you've had a star on your roster for a long time, but he's clearly starting to decline, it's better to let him go and risk him having a good year for someone else than hang on to him and let him drag your team down. That's what popped into my head on Sunday night when I got the news that the hosts of the extremely prolific podcast Knowledge Fight were ending their show effective immediately. Knowledge Fight had been charting the course of Alex Jones and his Infowars empire since 2017, picking apart his lies and challenging his self-created mythology for the nonsense it is. They recorded nearly 1,140 episodes and created a vast library of work debunking a host of figures in right-wing media and culture. And I want to show... do not recommend watching Jordan's VOD, by the way. Why? And I want to say, because, like, you can see just immediately, even in the last week, I've been thinking a lot about the impact of Knowledge Fight. Because as soon as the Tim Heidecker video hit, it pissed off so many conservatives. One of the ones that people repeatedly dunked on was that dipshit Count Dankula came out of the woodwork to call it unfunny and a lame attempt at parody and all this stuff. And you saw people who don't really watch or couldn't possibly have watched Alex Jones, who don't really understand the just mythical proportions he assigns himself, the completely unhinged tirades he'll go on, how detached from reality he is as a person. And so they treat him credulously. They treat him like a established journalist, like any other person in the conservative space. And I was just sitting there, as this was unfolding online, I was just sitting there thinking about, like, nah. Like, no. And there is thousands of hours of content to disprove that idea. Who in the holy hell is Count Dankula? Oh, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Nature is healing. With the end of Infowars and its purchase by The Onion, an impasse had developed between the show's two hosts, Dan and Jordan. They differed not only about whether it was possible for The Onion to parody Infowars, but whether it was morally defensible to attempt to do so. Between that and Alex Jones's public profile being drastically diminished, they decided to cease recording new episodes rather than keep going. Alex is definitely hanging on too long and seems to be in a long downward spiral that will not be entertaining to watch or elucidating to cover. And that is another point that there is I think there is a benefit to finality. And I think Mike was smart to open it with a kind of sports adage. It is, as one of my mods mentioned earlier, it has been very apparent in the last probably 6 to 8 months. And before that, like I think really since the end of the Sandy Hook case, they have seemed, particularly Dan, has seemed more and more broken down over this. Whoa. Wait, Johnny Viral, where was this? What the hell? What was the VOD? Well, you can't tell me that and I don't watch it. What are you looking for? What? Bioloom Eater, thank you for following on his Twitch. What is the Twitch name? DM me a link from the subreddit. Okay. Yeah, paradoxical piece. Go ahead. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get some water really quick. Two days ago. All right. So was this? Do we know how long it is? Or is this just the the intro? Okay.
All right. All right. All right, let's do it. I thought I could be cool. I thought I could be cool. I can't be cool. I can't be cool. I'm not going to be cool. Nope. Not going to be cool.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Sorry, jeez. Lady B, yeah, lady, sorry for making everybody jump. Made me jump too. I just had to go.
It's just not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. I am not going to be.
Here we go. Ethan the Lycan, I actually, speaking of the disappearing scientist conspiracy theory, yeah, this is Low EP Girl. This is one of the Knowledge Fight hosts. QAnon Anonymous, or I guess the QAA podcast now, they just put out a episode. Their episode this week was on the missing scientist. And they really, again, another podcast does phenomenal journalism. Go check them out because they totally changed my mind about the missing scientist shit.
Cool about this. So fine. All right, let's start. First things first. First things first. First things fucking first. All right? The Onion is leasing the name or the domain or whatever, Infowars.com, for $81,000 a month. All right? Is it not suspicious that they are leasing it from the conservator and that amount is very similar to the amount that it costs to lease fucking buildings? The one that Infowars is in, maybe. So maybe what the Onion is doing is leasing an empty building. Let's just start there. The Onion is leasing an empty building. The Onion is leasing an empty building. That's what they're doing. So none of that money, they give you that $81,000 like they're leasing it from the conservator, and of course the conservator will naturally pass that money onto the families. No, none of that money.
So I guess my question is, because I wasn't aware of this video, I guess my question is, how soon was this? Was this before or after they had recorded the most recent episode, or was this the thing that led to it?
Money is going to go to the families. Be very clear on that. That money is going to go to an empty building. That is what that money is for. That money is for keeping a building empty. All right? Now, why don't we know this? Why isn't that something that we're being told? Why aren't we being told this stuff? Why aren't we being told the cost
the video at the top? Yep.
Of doing business? The cost of doing business to have The Onion own Infowars.com or whatever it is they don't own. They're leasing an empty building. Why are people not telling you this? Because it's supposed to be about the families, right? I've seen Ben Collins go on the internet. I had to fucking do it. I shouldn't have done it. I should have just left. I should have just fucking left. I should have just left, and then I wouldn't have seen any of it. I wouldn't have seen any of it, and we all would have been fine. We could all have done some fucking pretend and had a great time. And instead, I have to exist. I have to exist. Apparently, I do. How long is that lease for? How long is the lease for the building? When did Alex re-up that lease? Is it 3 to 5 years? Was it a long-term lease? Alex has been there for a long, long time. I wonder if it's a long-term lease. Now, if that's the case, $81,000 is about $1 million a year to lease an empty building.
No, and paradoxical piece, Jordan is working off an assumption for most of this video about the building being leased, but his frustration and concerns are very real. No, and I definitely agree with that. I need more concrete proof, I think, on the leasing. El Salve, thoughts on the JP Morgan sex scandal myth? I thought it was funny. I didn't keep up. I guess I only saw the ending twist of it, so I didn't keep up with the whole thing, but like the idea that somebody made up this whole self-insert erotic fan fiction to try and swindle somebody out of money is very funny to me.
Right? So, what are we going to do to offset that cost? What are we going to do to offset that cost? We're going to make content on Infowars.com. We're going to make content. We're going to spoof Infowars.com. How much are we going to make from that? I don't know. Are we going to sell ad space? I don't know. We're paying people to write shit for it, so let's put another few $100,000 overhead on top of that. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, all of that stuff, none of that is going to the family. All of that's going to the fucking Onion to keep this fucking site going, or to the people who are making it, or whatever it is to do. So we've got another couple. Let's call it $1 million overhead. Let's call it $2 million overhead.
No, I have it against Cuisine. This is not an Alex Jones fan. This is a this is one of the podcast hosts of Knowledge Fight. Is this Destiny? How dare you? How dare you? No, we love Jordan. He's just having kind of a manic BPD crash out at the moment.
And we're not making any money from this. Then what we're saying is that we're going to get a cut of merch sales to the families. Merch sales! Merch sales of joke products. How many repeat customers are there for joke fucking products? Are we gonna give them a cut of the Onion merch sales too? No, just the Infowars merch sales. To be very clear on that, just that Infowars merch sales. None of those other fucking merch sales. Now, how long? For how long are we going to cover the cost of this? How long are we going to be in the red to pay for it? How much money does the Onion make right now? Does it make enough profit to cover $2 million in pure loss? No. No, it doesn't. It fucking doesn't. It doesn't. It's not possible for it to continue. All right? So automatically, before we go any further, this site has a complete end date. Any plan, any bullshit about how there's going to be a long-term fucking trans website bullshit, fuck off. Fuck off. That is not happening. That is not fucking happening. How dare all of you? Jesus fucking Christ. Ugh.
Modeline, this was before they decided to end the podcast. This was, I guess, a catalyst that kind of led to it. No, it's Nilbog Live. I think it is very much like, yeah, he has been, and listening to Dan and Jordan talk about their experiences since the Onion thing has kind of changed my mind on some of it too. um, as to like whether or not it's a good idea. Outside of the very faint, like I don't know. I feel like the Onion buying Infowars is, it's a good bit on its own, but trying to turn it into its own side business, uh. So is this why Knowledge Fight is ending? Kinda. Brian David Gilbert's not looking so hot. Thank you very much for $5, Uncle Errol. No, he definitely has points. Like, he definitely has points, and I feel his. I think if there's one thing I think we can learn from Knowledge Fight is that Dan and Jordan, I feel like we all have a little bit of each of their personality in us, right? Like, we all have that side that wants to be more analytical, and then we have that side that is the Jordan side of just like, fuck this, fuck everybody, and that dynamic is honestly what made them such a good pair. But with that, I feel comes a lot of righteous anger, you know. Violent left, this is, I don't think it's drug fueled. He is, Jordan is somebody who's spoken openly about having BPD and having manic crash outs. Like, and I this is a incredibly strenuous situation. Suit Pelt Do, thank you very much for $5. I think the years of psychic damage caught up to Jordan's really empathetic personality. Infowars is like a toxin for people like Jordan. I feel the same. I feel the same way about Dan, honestly. Like, these are people who are, for all their flaws and whatever you might think about them, are deeply empathetic. And I think that is why they have, this community is galvanized around them of likewise empathetic people. There's this, it's not that they're not empathetic, but you look at some podcasts I've listened to in the past, or true crime podcasts, I think are a great contrast to something like Knowledge Fight, because they do cover a lot of the same shit. But there's a navel gazing in true crime podcasts that I don't get from the hosts of Knowledge Fight. Lefty McLefterson, hello. Apparently there was another shooting, but it happened in the White House. I heard there was, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal. I heard there was some kind of incident. Doesn't surprise me. Well, and Cruise Control Fuku, I wonder if it's also basically stress from being out of a job. Well, no, because this didn't happen until they decided, like, this happened before they decided to end the thing. And yeah, I think, sorry if I keep yelling, genuinely pissed off at Jordan for this. No, I get it. I think that Jordan is somebody that feels things very, very hard, very deeply.
Fucking hell. How much money do the family members get? Is it an ongoing?
Oh, all in all, it's good. Thank you for 2 months in a row. Loving everything you do. I'm getting a lot of new information, new perspectives from your content. Oh, thank you. If you're enjoying my content, I've been working real hard I'm about a third of the way through editing the big video. I have 2 videos, 2 kind of long form essays I'm working on right now. One I'm hoping will be out Friday. And then, good news. I will be going to Seattle for the Seattle International Film Festival, where if you are going to see Mia Moore's new film, again, I will be there. I will actually be helping Mia with some stuff. And then, yeah, I will be doing streams too while I'm there. The place I'm staying, thankfully has some Wi-Fi, so we'll be able to cover some news from Seattle next week. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Oh, in real live streams? I might stream from downtown Seattle or something. That would be fun. I have a gimbal. I'm getting a gimbal. Oh no, it's from my cat. Hey baby, can you goop grandma? Thank you.
Website. So if they get a chunk of just the merch sales, isn't it your responsibility to keep the site going, even if it's not profitable? Even if
Well, Chapek Corral, shouldn't knowledge fight end soon with the defeat of Jones anyway? I think that is I think there is a fortuitous nature to the whole kind of disbanding, and that yeah, I think this is the right chance to get off. They saw the dissolving of Infowars as a brand, as this empire that Alex Jones built. They criticized it. They were there for its destruction and its ultimate downfall. And like I think like there is something poetic in kind of going out on a high note like that. Because Alex, we were just reading Mike Rothschild's kind of ending thoughts. Like, Alex Jones is just going to keep going down. Like, there's not going to be a big resurgence here. Yeah, no, this is fucking like preaching to the choir, buddy. Spending time professionally in the world of right-wing conspiracy theories is grinding and demoralizing work. Anyone who does this gets asked how they keep their sanity. Hey, how often have I heard that, chat? How often do I get that comment? And it's harder and harder to have a good answer. It eats away at you, particularly watching the same lies told over and over by new generations of scammers who will very quickly make much more money than you ever will. Damn, Mike, you don't gotta come for me like that. Holy shit. Whoo. I understand wanting to walk away from it. That's a form of self-preservation. They've done their duty, and it's time for other people to carry the work forward. Yeah. Yeah, Joey. Winston Targaryen, thank you very much for following. There are many more people writing and talking about right-wing conspiracism now than there were when, I was about to say kind of funny, Knowledge Fight started. I remember in 2017 trying to pitch stories about things like Pizzagate and then QAnon, being told to just ignore it, don't give it oxygen. We all know how miserably that failed. Dan and Jordan didn't ignore Alex. They attacked him and his ilk head-on, knowing that he spent 2 decades as a clownish figure of buffoonery to the mainstream press, even though he had a huge and lucrative fan base. 10 years later, Alex actually is a clownish, pathetic shell of himself. He's veered wildly between praising Trump and castigating him, licking his boots in one moment and calling him finished and compromised the next. Yep. Damn. All right, let's go finish.
they're not making merch sales because you're selling it right now. You're selling the website right now.
Yeah, anthropophagy. I think it's been rough listening to Dan like get progressively more, because I recognized the tone. You know, I recognize because it's the same shit I've run into before and I can only fucking imagine after 9 years, like, yeah, it's crazy. I am gonna try and I reached out to Amanda Moore, who is friends with Dan. and see if I can get one of them to do a interview. I'd love to do a retrospective type thing with Dan and Jordan.
As being for the fucking families. That's what Ben Collins has done on multiple fucking interviews. On multiple fucking interviews, he has sold it as this is being for the fucking families. They will see nothing out of this bullshit. Fuck you. You're being told that this is what you are being sold. Be clear on that. Not the truth about what they are doing. What they are doing is about what's happening right now. It is about people subscribing to The Onion right now. The last time they did this, it was about people subscribing to The Onion. It's about people subscribing to the fucking Onion right now. Or people buying Onion merch right now. Otherwise, you would wait until the actual finalization of the fucking deal to say anything. If it really mattered, you wouldn't do the same thing again. That was just basic learning. That's just basic learning. They did the thing before, and they didn't get it. Then they announced it again before they play. That's because they don't care if they get it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they get it. They don't even want it. So who is this fucking for? Is it to destroy the legacy of Alex Jones? I'm fucking some asshole. Brian Phillips. Fucking bullshit ass fucking bullshit. I'm trying to read about baseball, you piece of shit. Brian fucking Phillips. Oh my God. If I would devise a hell for Alex, it would be making his former website, his baby, fucking a joke like it always was supposed to be. What the fuck are you talking about? Are you insane? What do these people even know about him as a human being? All they know is the memes and maybe the trial. And yet from that, you have extrapolated this character that will absolutely fucking weep salt tears at the fucking idea of not getting to have an Infowars.com t-shirt on? That's destroying his fucking legacy? Selling rainbow Infowars shirts?
So I understand definitely where he's coming from, but it is... No, Johnny, like you absolutely fucking nailed it. It is so... It's just jumping to conclusions and getting mad about them. Yeah, so like here is one person, they're talking about it on the Knowledge Fight subreddit. Detailed financials of the Onion, the Infowars brand, the merch they're going to sell, blah, 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 blah. Are all made up on the fly, and then those made up numbers rile him up into a fury. We go from zero input information to they're paying $80,000 a month to rent an empty building. This is so specific, and it came from nowhere. He's literally screaming about how unfair these specific numbers and allocations are and how no journalist is looking into how they get away with it. The reality is that, as far as I'm aware, we don't know where that money is going or how this will play out for the families. This feels like a manic episode. I think it is. Like, I think it is. And that is, like... That's the fucking problem. Oh man, look at this shit, dog. I mean, but like Alex Jones's new studio. Oh, Blow High Blast, thank you for 5 months doing my job to destroy the legacy of Alex Jones. Thank you very much. Spooky Pepper 6900, thank you for 15 months. Yippee! Hi everyone, what's going on? We are watching a manic moment. All right, take this down. As I zero engagement. Yeah, let's finish it. We've already come this far.
Fucking network. And for us, let me be clear on this, on how it fucking works. For us to keep the website open while any stragglers who wanted to go to Infowars.com to look at some bullshit or to order some bullshit will be reminded to go to the AlexJonesStore.com because they turned Infowars gay. That's what they did. That's what they'll say. It's very easy to do. Boom. Now we move on. So it's not for that. It's not for people to stop or learn about how Alex is no longer good or make fun of him or realize that he's a joke. Everybody who thinks he's a joke already thinks he's a joke. The president thinks he's a joke. That includes everyone. Everyone already got there. Nailed it. We're at 100% capacity. Who doesn't know about breast cancer now? We know. That's what they're doing. And then they've got somebody like fucking Tim Heidecker, a very talented.
Nahamia, thank you for $5. It looks like he hasn't showered in days because he's too busy pulling hair out over his theories, but it could also just be a straight white guy thing. I think it's a manic episode thing. Damn. It is. I didn't realize he had like shit talk. This is. He was like 1 or 2 episodes ago when they reacted to the Onion acquisition and the announcement. He wasn't thrilled about it, but he wasn't like this feels deeper in a way. And I would be incredibly bummed if all of this comes to an end over a BPD crash out and he is going to like that. That would actually make me kind of sad. But I also don't think that. I think Dan and Jordan have been friends long enough that they understand that's probably not that.
Person. A very talented person. Who's given up the game.
To provide a space for funny people to make stuff and give them money.
Right.
Which feels like a really funny overall joke at the end of the day. If like, you know, Infowars is the premier source for trans comedy. Trans people making comedy, not making fun of trans people. That's the Dave Chappelle network.
Yeah. How much are we going to pay?
I mean, this is all well and good.
And I get like, and I do get, because this has been something that, like, if you feel protective sometimes when you cover a story or you cover people. It's the same way I have this weird, not around 2 of them specifically, but I have a weird, like, that instinct isn't the right word, but like, I feel protective of John and Miriam Anderson in a way. Of like, I get my feathers ruffled when I see people call them liars, when I see like NIFB fucking weirdos, after sitting down and talking with them and getting to know them as people and studying these issues for so long. I get being so protective. And granted, this is on such a smaller scale, than the fucking Sandy Hook parents, who Jordan and Dan had to watch be roped and dragged through the mud for over a fucking decade to get any restitution that, by the way, they still haven't gotten. And so I understand that intense protective urge that he is probably feeling. But it doesn't, and that impulse isn't wrong, I don't think. But there is still a I don't know. There is a level of distance I think he needs from this.
But I feel like on some level we should have some balance in this. I mean, you're coming on here all, happy
Bald.
and bald. You've shaved your head in support. I mean, was that part of this message, or is that just like you're going for a new look?
If you're familiar with a program I do called On Cinema, which your audience is, but you're too old to spend time watching comedy anymore.
I mean, I've heard people mention it. It's a relatively new program, isn't it?
Not quite. But my character on the show lost all his hair and has been wearing a wig for about a year. And so for our Oscar special, the wig was ripped off, and I wanted my bald head to be on TV instead of a bald cap. So I shaved my head, but it timed out perfectly because now I look like that guy.
Well, let's let that guy have his say in this too. Matt, can you cue this up for us? Because it's only fair. He is already...
Yeah, Wattswell, I think that's also fair. The impulse isn't wrong, but the infantilizing them and ignoring their strength through the saga is. Yeah.
Responded to this utter...
Oh, he's all over it.
Here he is. I mean, so what is the state of Infowars right now? Does he still have access to it all?
I don't really know.
Oh, by the way, chat, I did end up reaching out to somebody who, I don't know if they know Tim Heidecker, but they know people at The Onion, and never heard back. Because everybody was like, oh, you should see what they're doing if they're hiring or anything. So never happened. Never happened. If you want to send Tim Heidecker some links or whatever the fuck.
No, I'm not.
Look, I might disagree necessarily with the whole approach, but at the same time, if they're offering jobs to trans funny people, I feel like I could bring something to the Infowars table, honestly.
The law about I'm not the guy to ask. I think there's a judge that's going to weigh in on this in the next couple of days, and they seem to be on our side of the issue. So.
No, he is most certainly manic. So
there's one final little hurdle, but yeah, you can let's listen to the gentleman from Texas set it up here.
I wouldn't stop doing these videos.
Fair and balanced. Let's hear from him.
How's my Tim Pool impression? Not very good. Because Tim Pool, to me, Tim Pool is just a dude in a beanie going, I gotta be honest, I think the Democrats are gonna start a civil war. Like that to me is Tim Pool. It's just like, yeah, no, I definitely think the Democrats are going to push for a civil war. I think if Trump doesn't win, I'll be honest, I think there's going to be a civil war. Have you heard about Thanos? You know, in the movie, Thanos was actually the good guy. Oh my God, baby. Can you bring me cat ears? Somebody gave me $100. Thank you, Nehemiah. Woo. Oof. Oof. If you give me bonk, or if you do bonk, give it. What? No. Out of bonk? We are both out of bonk and you're cut off. Why? I gave you $10 though. What'd you get with it? Oh. No. Nope. Oh my God, lady. Koa. Pretty please. Can you? Okay, thank you so much, El Salvi, for another 100. Goodness gracious. Next is the cattail. No, I don't have a cattail. Dog is going bork. Yeah, Koa's gonna take Lady out real quick.
In a tubular body. I can't unsee this.
You can't take somebody over and then act like you're somebody, even with lawyers. Look, stay clear about November.
To be clear, we also want to make.
This is. Can I just say something? I on CNN. Yes, is that who it is? Yeah, Alex. It was pretty fun. What can I say? And Peter.
Upset.
Is that an example of what we're gonna get?
Yeah, this is a story from December 10th. Sale of Alex Jones' Infowars to The Onion rejected, and I'll get into this.
People, by the way, it's a total.
The Onion. Do you know what the problem is?
All right, here we go.
They can't handle $2 extra
Soros
million
told me
in overhead.
Thank you, Nehemia.
I was
And thank
taking
you,
a
El
shower,
Salvi,
and I
very
just heard
much.
the news, and I came out.
I shower with my jeans on.
Oh, that's right. It's like a Bobby Kennedy thing. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
right. I
that's
see.
right.
What's
He's swimming with
Showered
Kid
with my
Rock.
jeans on.
Thank you, baby.
Confuse people. By the way, it's a total failure. Oh, we're the 5th biggest newspapers. That's a lie. Newspapers are all dead. Okay.
I looked it up. The Onion gets less than half of the traffic that Infowars gets.
Okay.
They said they were going to be.
Shows that stuff with him and Tim Pool. That's
We
gold.
saw that. Okay.
And
Like
less than months, I think we'd love to make people. This is what it's all about, really. Not
BPD, I mean bipolar disorder. Thank you very much, Karen, now for $5. I would like to thank everyone for being 6/7 of the way through the GoFundMe. Please address all hate mail to this address. If you could go help get Nehemia a little bit further of the way, we've gotten a lot raised, and we're almost there to help with their new moving situation. That would be really appreciated.
not to be too sentimental here, but we are. This is like justice for those families who are still trying to get $1 from this guy after all these years.
Are they going to get $1?
And this
were they
said about the whole thing. No, I'm kidding. They in time, but
There we go. Two things. Onion, subscribe. That's what this is really all about. Then the next question. Then the next fucking question. What happens when it sucks? What happens when nobody goes? What happens when the bit...
I mean, that is... So the thing that I probably agree with Jordan here most is the kind of incredibly crass... Crass isn't the right word. But it's Jordan's prerogative to see it as this kind of crass, cynical cash-in, hearing that, you know, you have this... It goes with all the fucking corporate doublespeak of like, yeah, no, we have a definite long-term strategy and integration across website and all this bullshit. And I hear that stuff and it takes me back to my time working in a newsroom and hearing pitch people on, yeah, we could integrate this and we could do this with the website. And it's just like fucking, like it's incessant in any kind of creative space when you get into like producing, and it's always like, what can we do to get more exposure, get more hits, get more views? So again, I understand that. Bert Handsome, it does feel like they want to turn Infowars into another Funny or Die. I mean, yeah, and that's definitely not what's needed.
And we nailed it. We got him. Huh? What happens when the bit ends and he's still there? What happens when the bit ends and he's still making more money for Bigley than any of those fucking merch sales are doing for the families? What happens when they shut down? When they admit they failed? How long do they have? Seriously, do the math. Do the math. When they shut down, when they fail, and Alex gets to toast champagne at how fucking stupid these people are, they might as well be buying Prison Planet. Let's put it that way. They might as well be buying Prison Planet. All right? So when he does that, when he crows about how he won in the end, are all those news outlets right now who are selling you on a subscription to The Onion, or all of them who are saying, look at how great we are, is fucking Rachel Maddow going to do another episode where she goes, whoops, we all fucked up. Alex declared victory. He didn't go anywhere. The fucking Infowars website hasn't been updated in 2 months. They stopped paying the lease. So who knows who owns Infowars right now? Are we going to run those? Are those going to be run? Are the families going to get interviews about how they thought this was going to be a good fucking idea because they were sold on how it was going to work, but then 6 months later, when none of that shit materialized, they feel like they got screwed? Huh? Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to have that conversation? Are we talking about it right now? Or is everybody just going to be like, we did it. Hooray. We finally got Alex to apologize for calling out Sandy Hook. How have we done this again? How have we done this again? How are you still looking me in the eyes and saying that we finally got Alex to apologize for Sandy?
Jake GB, thank you for 20. Will Alex Jones work at the Onion own Infowars? No. Please tell me they will have him live his life chained to a radiator underneath the stage they're going to make him talk on. If so, he libeled terror victims. Alex is fucking recording from a closet right now. So here is the new Alex Jones, AlexJonesLive.com.
It is Friday evening, May 1st.
Sorry, y'all.
2026. Have a major update on the shutdown of Infowars that happened last night at midnight and the future of the fight against the tyrants, because this is just boosting the real Infowar. A URL, a studio, means nothing. Information warfare is about truth versus lies. And
Saint Shlomo, thank you for $10. Any money gotten from the Onion will be more than Alex Jones will ever give them, so it doesn't matter about the longevity of this project or anything like that. Yeah, but I think... Oh, holy shit. Sorry about that, Godzilla Nerd. Glad you're okay. And J Kung, thank you for $2. Doomer shit. Like, a little bit. A little bit.
And the Infowar. You are the Infowar. And as John Paul Jones, the founder of the U.S. Navy, famously said to the British, when a ship twice the size and 3 times the men was battling them, and they hailed across and said, give up, surrender. And he said, surrender, I've not yet begun to fight. That is where we are. I'm not putting a good face on this. It's amazing how this is blowing up in their face. Thanks to you spreading the word about our new URL, AlexJonesLive.com, with the show, the live feeds, the articles, the reports, all of it, the same great host and guest and analysis of tomorrow's news today. Over 6 million people.
Like, he really does. God damn, this has a desperate feel. This has a fucking shot in the back of a Winnebago feel to it. This is crazy. Like, just this tiny ass stage. You can tell that curtain is right fucking behind him.
As of 6 o'clock at night, Central, I just checked a few minutes ago, have visited the website. So it's almost 7 million. And by tomorrow, who knows? I mean, that is amazing. Top of Drudge. Want to thank Drudge. Want to thank everybody, all the other talk show hosts.
Fucking, again. God, this lying motherfucker.
Journalists who understand what's really happening, that show trials funded by the CIA and DOJ, that's been declassified, literally came after me, and they set all this up, and it's taken them hundreds of millions of dollars they filed in court, or $300 million they said they spent trying to shut us down, and they...
Oh, yeah, no, 7 million, he's lying out his ass. Yeah, this is the shit that he always does. It's like, we had 50 million views on YouTube last night, and that conservatively. conservatively we got, but on other platforms we got upwards of 100 million views. Okay, conservative, and that's in the lowest. Like, he just fucking says that shit. It doesn't matter what it's about either. It doesn't matter if it's like a live stream or a fucking election special or just random bullshit. That's all it drives me up a fucking wall. Thank you very much, Jake GB, for another 5. Alex should be in prison. Unfortunately, this is America, and lies, bribery, and harmful disinformation are protected speech. Well, especially right now. Oh, this isn't Uncle Simric. This isn't YouTube. This is Rumble. This is the hell site
Finally
that
did
everybody
it, and they
flees
are so upset
from YouTube
because they didn't do it all properly with the Onion, financed by Bloomberg and his Everytown Gun Control Group. They didn't do it all correctly, so they failed, like they did with their fake auction a year and a half ago, to take control, and they're in a lot of civil and I believe
big day,
criminal
huge
trouble.
drama.
But that's all coming. But I'm not worried at the end of the day about the URL or the old building, because the awakening globally is so massive. The only variable in this fight against these tyrants, by the way, the Onion people and their supporters, I did a whole report on today. It's at alexjoneslive.com, with all their X posts and Blue Sky posts, are literally saying, Charlie Kirk, Alex Jones, kill him, kill him, kill him. We've got to stop him.
What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
That's what these violent individuals are into. Doesn't matter that the shooter has confessed and shot video of himself and put out a manifesto last week at the correspondence dinner. The left saying, oh, that's staged by Trump or whatever. We're never for violence, even though that's all they push. And so when you're calling for killing people,
man.
It's not because you're winning the argument, it's because you're
dude.
losing the argument. And look, I know I'm stating the obvious here, but
it's just like, even just going and looking at this shit, it triggers, you get 50% methylene blue, man. A huckster till the fucking end. All right, let's finish watching this.
I can't do it anymore. We cannot both be sane. I can't have an article that says, congratulations, we finally defeated Alex Jones every 2 years. That's not how it works. Finally, Alex has been shut down. He continues. Finally, Alex has been taken over. He continues. Finally, all of you people suck. It's been 13 years. And what you have to show for it is the promise the best you can do is memeable content.
I think at some level, because people were calling, people, we just looked at the Infowars subreddit, where people were calling out Jordan for hypocrisy, because at a certain level, like, this is, the things he is accusing other people of is not so dissimilar from what Knowledge Fight has been, like, literally built upon. But I think at some level he knows that. And I think that's the frustrating part, taking part in this system of critique. And he's absolutely right. Like, it's been 13 years since Sandy Hook. What does anybody have to show for all the effort and work? And I think that's too narrow of a viewpoint, honestly, because so many people have learned how to spot bullshit. So many people have learned how to better navigate the hellscape of modern information. There is value in what Knowledge Fight has done. Did we already cover the UK arrest? Oh, no, not yet. Oh, buddy. Oh, that fucking bullshit.
And then how about this? How about we just go over how many times we turn this into the story of how we are all standing up to bullies on behalf of the Sandy Hook families. And in fact, on behalf of school shooting victims everywhere. this matters. It matters to defeat.
Jake GB, thank you for $5. Alex Jones is proof that we need to bring back consensual dueling. Debating grifters like him verbally does not do anything but help him make more cash. Yeah, and I think it is. I don't know. On some level, you look at this and you. Alex Jones' star has certainly fallen, but the fact that he is still any presence after all this time, yeah, that's bullshit. That's incredibly frustrating.
You know what's incredibly frustrating? This one didn't pee at all.
What?
Yeah, just homophobic.
Do not call my dog homophobic.
I tell her to stop being homophobic.
She said, I'm not homophobic, Mom.
I let her play in the water.
Did you keep pressing it and she went...
Yep.
And then her face got all wet and she went...
Yeah, she was having a good time. And then I said, you know what? I guess you didn't pee at all, but I'm going to go make your wet mouth your mom's problem.
Cute. Good dog.
Enjoy her and her wet mouth.
Thank you. I love you, baby.
I'm done.
Love you.
Somebody who would go so far as to fucking lie about them and harass them. And here's what we're gonna do about it. We're gonna turn his website into a trans positive fucking video funny people content site that we're going to have to ask people to migrate over to. The easiest thing in the world. And then what we're going to do to benefit those families is give them a cut of the merch sales.
Theo Turgoose has-been is getting canceled? All right, when you say canceled, do you mean canceled over like content or canceled as in not renewed for a third season? Because that's fucking insane, honestly.
A cut? What is the cut? Is it 5% gross? Are we talking
Savvy Sebastian, the one friend that's too woke. I have always kind of felt that one of the many things that's been a point of contention. I think it has been a point of good contention, but it is the difference in kind of radicalization between Dan and Jordan. It's not so different from the radicalization of Julian compared to the rest of the QA podcast, where, and I get it, again, sometimes you need the person on the podcast who's just going to talk about like how, you know, you need the person on the podcast who has a little bit of a violent streak, right?
revenue or are we talking profit? Are we getting realistically 48 cents on every fucking piece? Split that between all of the families. Are we seriously going to be talking about giving everybody a check for 50?
It's getting 5 seasons then finishing? That's not being canceled. That's
15 cents? How much merch do you have to sell to give the families anything? But the fucking lease gets paid for the empty goddamn building. We're going to mock him. We're going to mock him because the only thing that gets guys like...
Yeah, no, Awesemo. Every podcast needs a Matt Chrisman. Yeah, no, every podcast needs a funnel of eloquent rage, right? Somebody who is well-read enough to have convictions, but who is radical enough that all the rest of their well-meaning podcast co-hosts will be like, yeah, bleep that out. Bleep that part out. Yeah, no, Matt Christmas, Julian, yeah. I completely agree. All right.
Like Alex Jones.
Yes, and Nehemiah and Carinel, or Nehemiah and El Salve, please donate to Carinel. I know Carrie has 1 or 2. how many big donos do you need left?
Is to take him down a peg and to get people to laugh at him. That's the only thing that matters. That's what'll get him to go down. That's what'll get him to go away. We'll make him a joke. You know what we should do? We should put him on the Tonight Show. And we should let a Tonight Show host really kind of make fun of him.
Matt
really
Christmas.
Kind of
Did I
put
say
him
I said
down.
Matt Christmas, didn't I?
Maybe even like tussle his hair a little bit. Maybe tussle his bald head for a little while. Maybe then we'll fucking get him. That's what we'll do. We'll fuck.
Let's go. 500. We only have 500 left. If everybody, look, I got 300 people watching, and it's probably more than that because the counter always fucks up the count between YouTube and Twitch. If everybody gives like $2, if everybody gives $2 to Kari, they'll be done. But by the end of the night, just $2
Get him with-
at the link. It is pinned on YouTube. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave this playing. I need to go to the restroom.
Humor. We'll take him down a peg. We've created a hell that no one could ever survive. Who fucking cares about you and Alex? Who fucking cares how funny you are and also cares about how good or bad Alex is? Who? Who is this for? And not just that. Look at how culturally relevant it is right now. It's so fucking culturally goddamn relevant right now. It's so relevant right now. And if it's relevant, then the subject is relevant, which means they are making Alex relevant. And do you know what they're going to do? Do you know what they're going to do? They're not just going to do it today. They're not just going to make Alex relevant. They're going to keep making him relevant. They're going to keep making memeable content with the Infowars logo on it, reminding everyone who
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much, Paradoxical Piece, for gifting tier 1 sub to Awesome Stella. Yeah, he's ranting about this. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Mom realizes FBI follows her son's Instagram. What is... Oh, this is a half-hour video. I don't know about a half-hour video. I'll save this for Wednesday. Remind me... Well, Awesome Stella, that's this video. We still have other stuff to cover news-wise. Like this from La Jornada. Malay contributed $350,000. By the way, the guy we just bailed out because his plans for Argentina's economy have shit the bed so thoroughly. This is the anarcho-capitalist hero. Argentine President Javier Milei would have contributed $350,000 to form a regional communication team aimed at launching a media campaign against the leaders of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, and Colombia, Gustavo Petro, according to the audio record of a conversation between the former president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez. Detailed journalistic investigation published in Dario Red America Latina, based in Mexico. Hernandez was arrested for drug trafficking in the U.S. in 2024, sentenced to 24 years in prison, and pardoned by Donald Trump, despite being one of the most important drug trafficking chiefs in the region. In one of the sound files, Hernandez said, as part of that group or continental entity, Malay's role is important because it contributes thousands of dollars to build those, quote, fake news stories. We're going to ride a cell, President, from here, from the United States, so that we are not tracked there in Honduras. It's going to be like a Latin American news site, the newspaper said. From the audios, it also emerges that Hernandez has the task of, quote, attacking and removing the cancer of the left from there, from Honduras and throughout Latin America, says Diario Red, for which he needs to organize and install in the United States, quote, a digital journalism unit, which will be managed by, quote, someone else here from the team of the President of the United States. So, what we are seeing here is almost certainly tied in some way also to the CIA. The idea of using propaganda to weed out, to crush leftism in South America, it is the classic playbook of the CIA. And especially during a time when dipshit economic policies like this are causing so much upheaval. It is another example of, even if it is not directly correlated through Trump, like even if Trump is not, and I doubt he is, like pulling the strings of this, it is still an example of such blatant corruption that any other presidency would be fucking ended if we weren't so normalized to all this. All right, give me 1 second. I gotta give Miss more food. Mixed Fay. This is literally the same playbook from before my dad hit puberty. Roommate's dad hit puberty. Yeah. On the same day, another conversation was leaked in which Hernandez sends a message to the vice president of Honduras, Maria Antonieta Mejia, and tells her that she needs to, quote, have that liquidity because we are going to set up an office here with the support of some Republicans to be able to attack and remove the cancer of the left from there, from Honduras and all of Latin America. Support from Mexico. Jesus Christ. Talk to Malay, another great friend of us from Mexico, is supporting our Ready for the Issue of Mexicans. We are quite ready and waiting for this to move forward strong. Granted, all of this was translated from Spanish. This is a Spanish newspaper, so if any of the wordage sounds awkward, that's probably why. God damn. Former Honduran President Hernandez, infamous drug trafficker, protected by Trump, said his pardon was achieved, quote, thanks to the money provided by a board of rabbis. That's fucking insane, dude. I don't know if there's something lost in translation there, but Javier Milei has been going hard in the paint for Israel. There has to be some kind of translation error there. So all he must do in favor of the U.S. and Israel to guarantee them control of the area. Quote, and above all, ensure a legal framework that favors the AI companies of the U.S. and Israel. It would be by Trump's instruction that this team was formed after the kidnapping of the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro Moros, and his wife, Celia Flores, on January 3rd. At the time, Milei ordered a campaign against the Venezuelan president with special protocol offering the U.S. that Maduro be arrested and extradited to Argentina. Jesus. He sido es lunes que estaba en el lugar de un tiroteo en el que participó participó un agente en Washington y en el que una persona fue peleada por las fuerzas del orden. Okay. God damn. Let's see. Oh. Ha! We have, so let me see. We have a very fun thing. In the last couple days, there's been a bit of a controversy on Twitter where in the UK, if you're in or what do you mean, Karen? Now, what is make an announcement? What's the announcement? DM me on Insta. GoFundMe has decided your new goal is 6,000. That is not me. Your max goal is 3,500. It's crazy close to that. You do not want more than that. Okay, so for those that didn't hear, Carinail is close to the balance that they need to hit of 3,500 for their GoFundMe, but after that, they will be okay. I don't want it to appear I ever wanted more than that. Thank you very much, El Salve, for donating some. Yeah. So, over the weekend, a VTuber was arrested in England, in the UK, where there are much more strict, rightfully so, laws against content depicting minors as sexualized. What some would call child sexual abuse materials. Now, when this happened, there were two immediate reactions on the internet. One, from people who heard the story of somebody being arrested for having CSAM and went, probably deserved. Good. Probably good to get another one off the street. And the other was a contingent of blind nerds who immediately took the most defensive option possible, doubling and tripling down that the UK, in arresting somebody, was censorship incarnate, that it was this dystopian 1984 hellscape. This led to me being on Twitter a little bit, having, all right, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. A VTuber was arrested. Don't even need to fill in the details. Now, there is this thing that I've talked about it on here before. I talked about it a bit with the most recent video I did on Diana and Pragmata and the kind of controversy around that. I talked about it with the Chibi reviews thing. I talked about it with the Nux Taku thing. But let me make myself abundantly clear. Lolicon, here meaning, and I'm not just talking about Lolita clothing. I'm not talking about just cute anime girls or what the fuck ever. Somebody's going to always come up in this conversation and be like, oh, well, actually, like, in Madoka Magica, nobody's sexualized. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about Lolicon. I am talking about the shit that in Nick Andros's video, we looked at fucking Nuxtaku sharing with his audience. I am talking about content that is expressly made for one purpose, and that is to be a drawn representation of child sexual abuse. That's it. I don't care if it's not real, because it has very real effects on the people who consume it and the world around them. It is part of the normalization of pedophilia and attitudes that allow pedophilia to go on unfettered in society. And people will always come back to this argument of being like, oh, well, if you start limiting this artistic expression, where does it stop? Two things. One, not art. It's not art. It's not art. There is nothing thought-provoking. There is nothing challenging. There is nothing about it outside of the skill needed to make drawings that necessitates it being art, right? Like you get into these conversations online, and some of these fucking dorks, when you start, some of these dorks, when you start insulting their pedophile cartoons, start talking about, well, this is, you're not supposed to have freedom of expression, and they'll start talking about these fucking things like it's Finnegan's goddamn Wake. Like, you can't, who's to judge really what is or isn't valid art? Who's really to judge what form art should take? It's like, well, you're not using this to tell stories. You're not using this medium creatively. You are solely using it to debase, to debauch. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat. Maru Melandra, I'm going to be honest, having interacted with lollies, I do not see them making an arrest over a report about an artist like this, and thus they were involved in real CSAM. Please note, I hate Mollicons. So you've followed the clues I've laid out for you. Yeah, they didn't. And a lot of people immediately chimed in because so many people decided to make videos and completely performatively be like, we stand with Mimi and all this other bullshit. So for days, pedophiles and pedophile defenders were crashing out in my mentions on anybody who decided to say, good, fuck them. If they got arrested for the shit, they probably did more. Which, it was around the time that a bunch of other VTubers who are not pedophile freaks have decided to say, like, yeah, you know, I know a person who used to work in criminal this or used to work with police departments this. And let me tell you, generally speaking, they don't, what, Remick 0, $2. So Anna Valens is just another dork then? What do you mean? All due respect, Dead Domain, but the Yanks fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. What do you mean the Yanks fell for it, hook, line, and sinker? Her statement read it. Okay, no, I got you. Sorry, I missed one of your things. Her statement read is perfectly designed to get clout from her American audience and not sound like anyone who has actually interacted with the police in Britain. Oh, 100%. 100%. Uh-huh. Where are you going?
Away. I must away.
Oh, you be back?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I miss you. Love you.
Sorry, I'm so bad. Can't help it.
Do you want to get bunk?
Maybe. Think about it.
Do you have the cash?
Yep.
Yep. I love you. Someone saying that it was a drawing, so who was it hurting? Then they were told who it was a drawing of and doubled down. Yeah, it's just a drawing, so who's it hurting? The idea of, and maybe it's just an American thing because we are brought up to be so fucking selfish to only think about if something is not detrimental in a way we can see, then, oh, it doesn't hurt us. It doesn't hurt anyone around us. And the first thing that you should, internalize, if anybody says, well, no, it's actually not hurting anybody, it's just a drawing, who's it hurting? It's hurting you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? If you are looking at sexualized images of children, if that is what is getting you off, fictional or not, like, why would you do that to yourself? What? It is hurting you. It is destroying you. It is tearing away at your own fucking humanity to debase yourself in this way, to entertain the notion of something so fucking evil for no other purpose than your own pleasure. Like, that's what it is. It is not fucking the thing. Every argument comes down to with them, they want to make it sound like every depiction of pedophilia that their fucking anime cartoons that they clutch so close, they want to make it sound like it's fucking Nabokov, right? Like they want to make it sound like it's, oh, well, actually it's Lolita, and actually there's a much deeper story here. But it's not. It's not. Like, first and foremost, it hurts you. And then you expand that into a conversation about society. The fact that so many people now, well, who's it hurting? Is how so many problems in the world continue to go unanswered. Why so many things continue to hurt people completely unabated. Thank you for $2. That's not a good look, son. So, and I wanna make that my position on lolicon real fucking clear up front. Because I always get called, here's the other thing, I always get called a Puritan, which is very funny. I was told I was a Puritan. What was it? It was a Destiny fan who was defending this shit. Shocker, I know. And I was a Puritan, purity tester, something like that. And it is very funny because I, despite being a hashtag woke TM leftist streamer, I am pretty open-minded about shit. I'm pretty degenerate about shit. If people have ever seen, like, there have been multiple times I've had to delete VODs or clip stuff out because of what I've accidentally scrolled on while scrolling Twitter. Like, the idea of me being a Puritan or me clutching my pearls over something sexual. Oh. No. Like, it takes a lot to shock me. That doesn't mean that I think literally everything should be acceptable. We have standards that we enact in society for the good of everybody. Limiting the spread and proliferation of something that specifically targets and victimizes children, regardless of being fictional, that proliferates attitudes, that turns victimizing the helpless into a fetish, that then enables people who already have that fetish to live out their fantasies, I think is objectively fucking evil. That's what we're talking about here. Drax's Storm Scale. At one time, I did genuinely want to understand where the distinctions lie between what should and should not be acceptable problematic content. Then I got a good answer, and I agree with it. I mean, it's like, it's not just the fact, and when you get into arguments with these people online, they come with a couple pre-packaged ones. The first is that, well, you play violent video games. There's two things. That violent video games argument. And then they come back around. God, I just fucking had it in my head. What was I saying? The violent video games thing. Oh, yeah. Other sexual content. And it tells you how fucking normalized it is in their own circles that they can look at what are horrendously vile depictions of just outright abuse. Just vile shit. And they can look at that and be like, yes, this is actually the same when you run over somebody in Mortal Kombat, you're not a murderer, are you? This is the same as me looking at my fucking pedophile cartoons. It's like, no, actually. There is an abstraction. When you interact with a piece of media, like a film or a TV show or a video game even, there is distance between you and the screen that is filled with storytelling, that is filled with your interaction with the medium, that is filled with your attention to detail, that is filled with the space between you and the screen, right? When you watch a violent video game or a violent movie, you are not, most of the time, most people, right, do not watch a Scorsese movie. This is an example I gave. And when a character gets got in a Scorsese movie, your thought isn't to pause and zoom in on the blood splatters and to be like, oh yeah, like this is real. No, you're thinking about the role that has in the story. Because you are not there for the violence. The violence is incidental. It's part of the overall design. It's part of the interaction. But it is abstracted within the whole. It is the same thing with video games. You are not solely, you might like a Mortal Kombat fatality. You might like the way it feels to break people's bones in fighting games and decapitate ninjas in Ninja Gaiden. But you are not going solely for the violence because there are other things that are either barriers or incidental along the way. If you go and play a video game just for violence, do you hit the first jumping puzzle and go, fuck this shit? Like, no, because you're not there just for that. You are there for the cohesion of gameplay and story. The difference between those things is not just the context of how you're interacting with them. The difference between those things is that you are an active participant because you are using these comics as simple pornography. That's what these fucking freaks are using it for. They are using it as pornography. There is no abstraction. There is no larger point. There are no other moving pieces. There is no space between them and the screen. They are allowed through these fucking comics and these images, I'm not going to call them art because I said they're not, to live out their depraved rape fantasies. That's what it is. Christian Garcia, they tried to turn the discourse against leftists. If you ban Lolly, then they will start banning LGBT stuff. My guy, yeah, like, they already are. Yeah. Awesome 406. Tiny and all his debate bro pals are super into CSAM hypotheticals and all their conversations. Yeah, I don't fucking, that was like a hot topic to fucking people, I guess, a decade or so ago. The idea of, like, so many people have done it in the past where they're just like, you know, the fucking Matt Walsh video I found, where, let's just say, hypothetically, that you find a PC lying on the ground. And he talks about, like, why were so many people like a decade ago being like, oh, let's just say for the sake of argument, we come across pornography. Okay? And let's just say it's completely illegal everywhere in the world, right? Right? Let's just like, okay, why? Like these aren't interesting thought experiments. There's nothing here. Ugh. Yeah, it's just immensely frustrating. Anyway. Nothing more woke than a conservative trying to woke scold a progressive. Yeah. No, it very much. Yeah, we will. So, Chibi Reviews was one of the first people and the loudest voices to come out and shine a light on this important issue of this person, Mimi Yagami, the VTuber that was arrested in the UK. But Chibi has something else to share because, as is usually the case with these online outrage mobs that are based in nothing but petty grievance and impulse, they didn't have the full story. Yeah, it turns out that it wasn't just an issue of censorship. Oh no, I missed your dono. Oh, Vivian, Jessica Bentley, thank you for subscribing. El Salve, thank you. Look at Nehemiah's super chat. Oh, thank you very much for $10. Theory: Charlie Kirk, after an acupuncture mishap, wakes in hell as Satan's son, but goes through a redemption arc involving transitioning. Kirk becomes Charlie from Hazman Hotel. Am I cooking? No. Turn off the stove. Step away from it. No. Turn off the stove. Step away from it. Don't piss me off. And to kind of put a bow on the subject of, it's the slippery slope art argument, and people ask, well, where will it stop? It always stops somewhere. It stops somewhere. You know how we have rules, we have laws on pornography? That you can't have CSAM? And everybody, like, you can do a lot of other shit on film. And we as a society, with the exception of some particularly uptight assholes who are trying to, along with tech oligarchs, take all of our rights away and all that shit. Aside from that, you can pretty much publish most stuff as long as animals and kids aren't involved. And I feel like that's a pretty good standard we've set. What do you mean Valens is defend? Oh, that's a fucking bummer. All right. After seeing what has been revealed a few hours ago, there was clear manipulation to the story that has been discovered. Whatever, blah, 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 blah. I just wanted to show Chibi being a fuckhead because somebody else has a much better summation. So this is, I don't know anything about these people. This is just a good summary of what's happening. To briefly recap, Mimi was a VTuber who was arrested by the UK for possessing doujins and other anime paraphernalia. They forced her to dox her real name on social media. As a result of this injustice, thousands of people leapt to her defense, calling the UK police incompetent fools for harassing a harmless woman possessing innocent material. Now, this was the other thing, is that it was depicted as, and you can tell, by the way, that anybody defending Lolly is going to be the most disingenuous liar in the fucking world. By the way, because they didn't actually say what she had or what she had linked or what she had drawn publicly before. I'm not going to show them on screen, but I, through very brief searches, was able to find things she had commissioned from artists that are fucking disgusting. Just fucking disgusting. Just fucking horrendous shit, dude. But people were pitching it and depicting it as, this innocent artist just had all of her manga and anime taken. It was just manga and anime. This allowed so many fucking lolicon defenders and pedophiles to be like, all of these normies think all anime is the same, so if you don't stand up and defend these people, they'll come for you next. I've had people legitimately, when I've spoken about this shit, I've had people legitimately say that I need to be careful because I like Darkstalkers. So I could get canceled over the character of Lilith, a character from a 30-year-old arcade game that, like, nobody has had a problem with the design of. Like, it's like, no, I actually don't think so. I actually don't think so. But it's important to know. Hello. It is important to remember that they're going to reach for anything to make this pedophile shit seem more normal. But it's not. And when somebody gets arrested, turns out it's usually for a good fucking reason. It's not just the UK deciding to hone in on one lone anime fan. So I do want to take some of this with a grain of salt. This is so far from Kiwi Farms. They are claiming that Mimi Yanagi is actually Jordan Williams, a biological male with a years-long history of openly embracing pedophilia online. Jordan, despite spending several £1,000s of the taxpayers' money, parenthetical, he is on welfare because he refuses to get a job, on a VTuber model and commissions for it, has never actually streamed. This is certainly because if he were to stream, his identity as a man would be immediately revealed. This was something I didn't realize because I don't know shit about VTubers. Oh, God, this fucking vile. Fake as a fallen shadow. There is no, isn't Kiwi Farms just a place? No. Kiwi Farms is a place where mentally unwell people keep tabs on other mentally unwell people. Unfortunately, Kiwi Farms does do some good hyperfixating work on occasion. Like, I'm not going to fucking sit here and tell you that Kiwi Farms is good, and I think everybody on that website needs to get a life. That said, they have done some, on occasion, they do some good work. Camington Bear, they are not being tricked. Yeah, it is the lolcow site. Jordan, despite spending several £1,000s of the taxpayers, blah, 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 we already did that. Jordan's identity as a pedophile is much more relevant here. This is not a term I use lightly because it is thrown around far too often. However, Jordan is extremely blatant about his vile predilections. Within hours of his announcement of arrest on Twitter, KF members had already found his Pixiv account. Here is where things get truly disturbing. Her channel was allegedly deleted. And nobody has any what? Like archives up of it? Jesus Christ. For years, Jordan. So again, I need y'all to understand what fucking Lolicon fans will lay down for. Like how they will go into the weeds for fucking anybody over this shit. The art they produced included highly realistic depictions of children and toddlers in sexual situations, including rape and bestiality. A major artist who Jordan loved and boosted is Blue Borscht. Blue's work is unabashedly pedophilic. He draws children being raped and molested by adults in his works, featuring phrases like child rape club and child porn drawn on the bodies of the children being depicted in them. So, it's just like, again, they will never tell you actually what this quote unquote, the things that they'll be like, you just don't like art. Like, art should make people they'll post that fucking meme about like art should make people uncomfortable, but never me uncomfortable. And you're gonna fucking sit here. These anime pedophile fucks will look you dead in the eye and say, yeah, that's it's just fake, it doesn't matter. They'll just say, oh, it's just drawings. Oh, it's just artistic expression. You know what they don't say out loud? You know what they don't fucking admit out loud? What it's actually fucking depicting. Because if they dropped all the she's a 5,000-year-old dragon bullshit, if they dropped all the bad faith, you play a GTA, how is that any different from murder bullshit? If they stripped all of that away, they would be left with the undeniable admission that they are fucking predators. That they are pedophiles at best. Definitionally. One argument I've heard when I will say this is that people will say, so you think it's real? You think drawings are real? And I say, no, I didn't say that. I don't think the drawings are real people. And they will say, but you say I'm a pedophile. And it's like, yeah. Because if you exhibit attraction, sexual attraction to children, doesn't matter if it's a fake child, you are a pedophile. That's it. This has, without any exaggeration, been some of the most vile shit I've unwillingly been exposed to on the internet. Investigating it was so sickening that even hardened internet sleuths were finding it difficult to continue. The most damning part of all of it is that it was all out in the open. This did not require an intense effort to discover. Uncovering Jordan's history of pedophilia took a few Google searches. Uncovering his identity as a man took only a little more effort. Every single person who is blindly defended Jordan Williams must now accept that they put time, effort, and energy into supporting someone who spent a large portion of his daily energies masturbating to images of toddlers and preschoolers being raped. And you know what? That includes chibi fucking reviews. Like here's the thing that I need people to really wrap your head around. Yeah, this person got arrested. But how many thousands of people jump to their defense, just like chibi reviews, that probably do the exact same fucking thing? How is this person a VTuber if they don't have a model and don't stream? I don't know. And that's the thing that's weird, because it just occurred to me, like, yeah, I haven't seen any fucking clips of them. Now, anyone with an even slightly pro-censorship platform has an endless orgy of evidence with which to declare the other side as reckless, child-endangering seal clappers. I'm not entirely sure I disagree with them anymore. Yeah, because they are. That's because they are. That's because they are. Like, again, you were framing it as censorship. But no, it's just banning. It's just common sense. It is not saying, oh, you can't say this, because there are no actual ideas being presented. You're not silencing someone's free speech. You are determining a moral construct for a society to understand communally that we will not put up with the victimization, the hurting of children in any fucking form. It should be the easiest fucking thing to say. And the other thing is so many people coming to be like, well, can you blame people for thinking the UK is a fascist hellscape because they're so censor heavy? It's like, okay, but think about how many times you've thought that and were wrong, or something like this happened, or something like this happened and it was revealed and you weren't paying attention. Fucking hate this shit. Most truly anti-censorship people about what? Jesus fucking Christ. Still just drawings with finely tuned yet practically unrealistic scenarios. You may balk at the fact that they use pedo as a tag, a reasonable assumption from someone who's not familiar with the lolicon community. That's fucking insane, dude. That's the wildest self-report I've ever fucking seen. You may balk at the fact you might not be familiar with the lolly community. Around those parts, they just say pedophile. They just label the things they like as pedophilia openly. Great. Hell yeah. Ironic self-identification, which is essentially role play. Oh, okay. No, they're just calling themselves pedophiles for fun. You know how they do. Christ, man. No, yeah, just wood chipper, y'all. Wood chipper. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. You, Kiwi Farms doxing DJs and fake anti-censorship bandwagoners. Christ, man. Defend her right to not be arrested over mere drawings. Unbelievable. Carnell, okay, yeah, let me, I will do that really quick. I really don't want to fucking, yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll leave that one up in the background. Let's go. Let me put on, what else do we got going on today? Oh, right. I forgot to fucking...
In warnings. Now, this is being reported by the Fires News Agency.
Woo. Woo. Sorry, everybody.
That's state media in Iran. I cannot, at this moment, independently verify that for you. But this is what we're hearing from the Iranians. We've not had any response as yet from the Americans or the White House or Donald Trump on Truth Social. I'm sure we will either get their version of events or a counterclaim in due course. But at the moment, at this time, Iran is claiming via state media, the Fars news agency, that 2 missiles have hit a US warship near Jask Island after that warship allegedly ignored Iranian warnings.
All right, we are unpinning your message,
according to local sources, Fars news agency, the warship turned back from the area, and Iran's navy is being cited as saying by state media that it's prevented the entry of warships in the Strait of Hormuz area. That's according to details being broadcast on state television. This comes, of course, as Donald Trump has said that the United States would look to undertake an operation that would ease the passage of the commercial vessels through the strait. If you look at this map we're showing you at the moment, the Strait of Hormuz is that kind of peak of the curve there between Oman and the coastline of Iran. On either side of those dots are the vessels that are at anchor. Donald Trump saying that 15,000 US troops will be utilized to enable the passage of these vessels. He claims that it's for humanitarian bases, although analysts and experts claim that there's perhaps a different rationale behind that.
Yeah, no shit, you think? All right. Let's see. What's we got? I have the fucking Tucker thing. Let me get... Oh, sorry, I'm in another window right now. Give me a sec. Biggity buck bumble. It's Monday, honey. 4th? It's May the 4th.
Oh yeah.
You know, that hilarious joke.
What joke? Give me your best like three takes of the joke.
I don't know, man.
I don't want to play this game anymore.
I don't want to play this game anymore.
Put it away.
All right, so we are gonna
Good.
Ah!
Oh?
Sorry, loud ass.
Do you want the sweet surprise?
Sure. Going to buy the life-size animatron. I'm so fucking tired of Baby Yoda, y'all. I'm so... Hey, chat. I know. This might be a hot topic. I'm so done with Baby Yoda. I'm so done with fucking every goddamn movie having a cute glup shitto of some kind.
His name is Gorkle.
Okay, first off, his name is Gurkle.
Not Gronkus?
His name is Gurkle, and he goes... did I?
He doesn't talk.
Oh, whatever.
He hasn't learned how. He don't know his words from his other words.
Chat, that was a good Urkel joke, right?
Oh, Gurkle.
That was, yeah.
I see what you did there.
Did I do
it
that?
Was lost on me.
Did I do that?
Yeah, there were layers there.
There were layers. See?
What? Honestly, and see that's a good. No, two more.
I don't. You know what I was thinking? We were watching Animal Farm, that the chicks were like the fucking porgs in that movie.
I don't know what a porg is.
Blessed baby. It's another fucking Scrimblow. It's another fucking Burt Chuggins.
A Jinbei, a Bonk Chonkins.
It's another Bonk Chonkins. Yeah, you got it. You got it. I like Jar Jar Binks unironically. Whoa!
Bad for me. Oh, and then for the last one, can I pick the last one and have it be Star Wars Yoda death? Thank you.
You're welcome. You make me do. You hit me in the back of the head until I do the Star Wars Yoda noise.
Well, don't have such a. Who put this target on the back of your head?
What the fuck do any of these words mean? Johnny Viral, Dead Domain, you have a Jarch? What the fuck are you bemoaning folks over Grogu? Look, the Jarch is a sculptural wonder, okay? The Jarch is a fashion statement unto itself.
Did you just smoke weed and call the Jarch a fashion statement?
Yes, I did.
So you're in cat ears. You're holding up a Jarch.
Yeah, I'm in cat ears, smoking a ciggy, holding up a Jarch. Why are you getting on my steez about this? Why do you hate my swag so much? Oh, it's still too loud. Fuck, man. Joe Dax, that's the most insane shit I've ever heard. Phantom Menace, unironically, the best film out of all 3 trilogies. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I preferred the Phantom Womaness.
Morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. I've got a headache.
I don't care.
I blame Matt Walsh. Yeah, cool. Who is Matt Walsh? Some of you may be asking right now. To which I say, you don't know who he is? Good for you. I'm so happy.
That's every fucking time. Every time somebody is like, who's Matt? This happens a lot with Koa, because Koa is thankfully not as politically active isn't the right word. Entangled, let's say. They aren't as imbued with all this dumbass bullshit I have floating around in my head all the time. Yeah, I saw the Mandalorian tweet.
I preferred the Mandalorian tweet.
No, you're good. You can go now.
For you.
No, you're good.
Leave now. Protect your brain. But also, to answer your question properly, Matt Walsh is an American political commentator, the host of The Matt Walsh Show, a regular contributor to the Daily Wire, a right-wing media company of sorts.
I've been watching the Metal Meltdown, which, by the way, if you like metal music, please go like, follow, and subscribe to the Metal Meltdown. I've been watching his stuff on and off for, goddamn, I don't remember when he started, but I feel like it's been a good 4 or 5 years, maybe. Like I've had him in my feed for a long time, and I generally, like, don't always, but generally agree with his reviews. He has really good taste in music, really good taste in metal, and I've been overjoyed to find somebody who is like kind of having a growing voice and platform, who isn't afraid to be a progressive cis white dude in a space that is, like, I think in a lot of people's minds defined by, like, tough guys and badasses and all that stuff. So go show some love to the Metal Meltdown if you aren't subbed yet. Silliest Bear, thank you for following.
He has produced very rage-baity documentary films like What is a Woman and Am I Racist? And he recently made a video called Rock Music is Completely Dead, in which he alleges, for a multitude of bad reasons, that rock music is completely dead. Now, Matt Walsh being wrong about something is not a new or unique phenomenon. He peddles in misinformation and is very often very wrong about many things. In fact, he has on occasion been so wrong that he has been corrected by...
I'm not mad at the crew. I'll be better tomorrow. What? Apologize for having actual breakdowns on air. I'll be better tomorrow. Recommend Brutus Bathory too. I fucking... I'm glad I get to watch Metal Meltdown's video and not have to watch Matt's.
Joe Rogan of all people. In November 2022, Walsh was challenged as a guest on the podcast The Joe Rogan Experience for suggesting that maybe millions of kids have been put onto puberty blockers. Producer Jamie Vernon interjected and stated,
"Oh, classic. I kind of wish he would have shown the clip. I fucking love that clip because it's, and I showed it in the documentaries I did on Matt Walsh. It is such a good look at like getting called out immediately on his completely made up bullshit and just being like, well, probably something like that. Fucking dumb.
Stated that only 4,780 children had been put on puberty blockers within the past 5 years. Walsh lowered his guess to hundreds of thousands and said he could be wrong, adding, "Who are you going to trust when they're telling you the numbers?" And of course, videos from middle-aged older white men complaining about rock is dead is also not itself a new or unique phenomenon.
Oh my
Hell,
God.
this isn't even the first time we've done a reaction video to videos made by older middle-aged white men complaining that rock is dead. None of this is new. None of this is new or unique. I wish it was, but it isn't. It's a tale as old as time at this point. And with all this in mind, I can totally understand why some of you might be saying, hey, Uncle Melty, I don't really see what you're accomplish here. Genuinely, I understand it. I do. But I think that there's real value in continuing to fight back against the claims that rock music is dead, and specifically when it's coming from a self-proclaimed theocratic fascist like Matt Walsh. So one thing that Matt Walsh does pretty early on in his video is he scrolls through lists of popular songs. Like there's a Spotify playlist of top songs in the USA. He looks at lists of songs that are currently charting on the Billboard charts and all that stuff. He looks at a list of hot #1 trending singles at the moment, songs that are performing really well. And his first observation is that there isn't a lot of rock music there. And also a lot of the rock music that is there is rock music that is pretty old, not exactly brand new. And to be entirely fair to the guy, he's not wrong. There isn't a lot of like really popular high charting rock music right now. But I don't really see that as a sign of rock music being dead. I see that as a sign that it doesn't make as much money as other genres right now. Because if you really listen to rock music, if you really listen to punk, metal, alternative, any kind of subgenre of rock music, then you know that rock music is often at its most interesting and creative and powerful when it isn't in the mainstream. Now, this isn't always true, but it often is. Like, there's a reason
I feel
why
like
people pretty consistently believe that Metallica's best albums are their first few. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that as you get more mainstream, you get less creative per se. Metallica is a great example. Say what you will of Load, Reload, Saint Anger, Lulu, but all of these projects are musically very different from each other. Metallica has branched out a lot and done a lot of things that are objectively kind of different and, yeah, creative. Do I love them? No, but there are plenty of people who do. There are plenty of people who love Load and Reload and even Saint Anger.
See, and that's one of the reasons why I like this channel so much, is that he is able to take a step back and understand a bigger context. Yeah, anyway, guy's great. You should go watch him.
Not so much Lulu, but there is a growing admiration, I would say, for that album. Like, I have spoken to plenty of people who love that album. I have a well-documented fondness and appreciation for that album and everything that it does. And you know, the same thing can be said for bands like Green Day and Muse and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, whose early albums are excellent and more recent albums are not excellent, but they're not uncreative either. But hey, how you feel about a band, an album, a genre of music, that's subjective. Numbers are not. Numbers are objective. You can't really argue with stats and numbers. I mean, you can, but you also kinda can't at a certain point. We need to understand that the same environment that allowed Metallica, Muse, Green Day, the Red Hot Chili Peppers to succeed over the course of 30, 40 years, that allowed them to have big breakthrough records years ago, that whole system and environment and world just
That's riffs, no leads. That's fucking crazy. Load defender here. Reload is ass. My favorite part of saying anger is a snare, but I like industrial. The only thing I like about reload is fuel. Yeah, because memory remains is from load. The memory remains. Yeah, it's a fucking heavy riff. I think those first three, I think if you count Saint Anger as just those first three tracks, it's not the worst thing in the world. I think I like those first three tracks quite a bit. What do you mean? What the fuck happened to it?
Like, I don't know.
There's still a screen in there. You see if it worked?
Just doesn't really exist anymore. The way that people consume music and learn about music and buy music, if they buy it at all, is just radically different. And the things that people are interested in is different too. Like pop music and hip hop are the big popular genres right now.
Sarah Frena, I like Unforgiven 2. I will say I love Unforgiven 3. I think Death Magnetic is kind of underrated, if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest. Like, I think Death Magnetic underrated, and I think Hardwired is too much album. Like, you can make a all-timer, or pretty damn close to an all-timer for modern Metallica, if you cut like half of the songs on Hardwired.
But with that being the case, that doesn't make me think, oh, well, rock is obviously dead. I don't know, man. It's just that, you know, as somebody who has been so involved with rock and metal and punk music all my life, but especially in these past few years with the Metal Meltdown, talking to musicians and all of y'all and learning about all kinds of different bands and all kinds of different things that are happening, it's hard for me to kind of look at this massive community.
Given that Death Magnetic was produced by Rick Rubin, man, look, Rick Rubin, piece of shit human being. Nobody's gonna fucking debate that the dude can produce a fucking record. If I remember correctly, didn't he also produce Black, the Black album? I think he produced the Black album, and then I'm pretty sure he was also integral to the like the last albums of Johnny Cash and the incredibly iconic sound that led to things like his cover of Ain't No Grave and Hurt and all of the like fucking 4 or 5 albums of late bangers in Johnny Cash's career. No, I like Load. It was the only thing I liked off of Reload was Fuel.
Of people online sharing music, talking about music, like hundreds of...
Bob Rock produced the Black album? Okay.
Thousands of people.
And I just had that mixed up.
Millions of people really across different YouTube channels, websites, blogs. It's hard for me to look at that and then take an argument like, oh, well, you know, there isn't a fucking rock band in the top 100 Spotify songs playlist and therefore rock is dead. It's hard for me to look at all that and then hear that argument and...
Have I heard Corey Taylor's cover of Rainbow in the Dark? Yes. I listened to that whole album. I think one time the tribute to Ronnie James Dio. And like, I think some of the choices and some of the songs are definitely better than others. Like, I think the cover of Temple of the King that Scorpions did, great. Fucking great. And that's like a deep cut in Ronnie's catalog. A lot of the other ones I was like, okay, like I think Hailstorm did one. Doro Pesh did I think it was Egypt she did a cover of, which is again kind of a deep cut off of The Last in Line, which I like Egypt. The Chains Are On. That's a great fucking, it's a long song too.
go, yeah, that tracks. That makes sense. Matt also quotes a video from Rick Beato called Why Are Bands Mysteriously Disappearing? Which, I mean, the phrasing of that kind of makes it sound like people are scooping up rock bands and taking them out to the middle of nowhere and shooting them in the fucking head. Like, what the fuck is that phrasing? Like, are they getting sucked up in the Bermuda Triangle? Like, what are we fucking talking about? But no, what he's really talking about is that, like, oh, well, you know, the top 400, 500 bands or whatever, you know, there are only 3 bands.
Oh, somebody asked my my favorite Nine Inch Nails song. It's Ruiner off of the Downward Spiral.
Bands that have formed in the past, like, 10 years that are on this fucking list. And that to him is a sign that bands in general are just disappearing. These kinds of takes are not uncommon for Mr. Rick Beato. He has made them pretty consistently. I've talked about a lot of his bad takes pretty consistently. And both Rick and Matt together take this as a sign that, again, rock is dying. Something has happened to it. But again, I'm sorry, I'm just not convinced that, like, Spotify numbers and algorithms and top 10, top 100 lists or whatever, I'm not convinced that that is indicative of where rock music really is as a genre, of where the culture really is right now.
Oh yeah, no, Ruiner fucking whips. Ruiner is super underrated on that album. I mean, but also the Downward Spiral is fucking great. Like that has become one of the albums that I can just listen to backwards and forwards anytime. Thoughts on With Teeth? I like it. There's not a Nine Inch Nails album I don't like, honestly. What was I saying? What was I? Oh, no. People looking to hear something new and unique. I've been cutting it up with Masayoshi Takanaka lately. Oh, let me turn you on to fucking game about my boy Masayoshi Takanaka.
Because again, I think that this stuff really thrives in the underground. I'm not going to repeat myself too much. I'm going to try not to.
I'm definitely not going to watch 2 Matt Walsh videos, so I'll just go look up some Masayoshi real quick. And we'll go look at Freda's video later.
But I stand by that claim, and people who are actively involved in rock music know that. Matt Walsh also talks about artists like Lou Reed and David Bowie, who were constantly experimenting, constantly doing weird and wild and different things, constantly changing their sound, their image, everything that they were. They developed very unique styles and sounds and identities. And he seems to imply that that just doesn't really happen nowadays, which is also incorrect. I think an amazing example of exactly this kind of ethos and approach to rock music that he's talking about is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, who release often multiple albums a year, and their sound is completely different with every single album. You could pretty consistently call them a psychedelic progressive rock band, that's probably fair to say, but within those realms, they've dabbled with electronic music, they've dabbled with the blues and boogie music and jazz and microtonal jazz fusion and thrash metal, and they've made big high concept rock opera style albums, and they've done more minimal and very like simplistic down to earth stripped kind of albums, and they've done big jam sessions, and they've just done all kinds of weird, wacky, wild shit. And sure, maybe they haven't worked with legendary songwriters and producers like Lou Reed and David Bowie, and maybe they haven't had #1 hit singles like those bands, but they have developed a very, like, strong cult following. And they are very successful. They play huge stadium tours. Every time they release something, it gets really hyped the fuck up. Like, this is a band that has really captured the interest and attention of people who, again, are kind of living in the rock underground and looking for something creative and fun, and they're just really loving the fuck out of this. Turnstile is another band that comes to mind as one that has gone through a lot of changes, and they've developed a really unique sound and style, this kind of like dreamy, new age, kind of melodic hardcore of
All right, I don't want to watch the whole thing. While I do like his analysis, I was thinking there would be more Matt Walsh here to get mad at, which again, I also understand why there's not. Let me do, gosh, who do we... Man, fuck you, Fantano. What do you mean everybody's obsessed? Let's do... I'm provided to YouTube by Universal Media Group. I'm sure it will be copyrighted. Do I like the pillows? Oh, yeah, I love the pillows. Sexy dance fucking whips, too. Oh. Okay. We have do I listen to any city pop? I listen to some city pop. Capcom Hub World music? Fuck yeah. I want all of my music to be Capcom Hub World music. Hey, Fraudage Core. Yeah, we have a Tucker thing. KF, not UK. This is such a funny fucking picture for this profile, too. Like, trying to make him look... He... I don't know what it is. He just, like... I think it's his lack of, like, a really defined chin. Or he's always... No, he's always kind of been this shape. I don't know. Like he's supposed to be Brando or some shit. No, man. Mr. Chuck Grape, do I listen to any city pop? Yeah, well, so I do, but it's like, I have like playlists and stuff. I think I have 2 city pop playlists. That's actually where I found, no. Yeah, I did. That's where I found, I think, Masayoshi at. Tucker Carlson has been at the center of our political conversation in conservative media for a decade now. Few media figures are more closely identified with the Trump era. His hugely popular Fox News show started just after the 2016 election. Despite being fired by that network in 2023, Carlson has remained a Trump world fixture, launching his own network, boosting Donald Trump on his podcast and at campaign rallies, sitting in Trump's box, blah, blah, blah. Then in February, Trump made the call to attack Iran alongside Israel, a decision that Carlson is completely opposed to. Because of this focus on Israel and his high-profile interview of white nationalist influencer Nick Fuentes, critics have accused him of anti-Semitism. To understand this break with the president and more, I traveled to Maine to sit down with Carlson. You know, Maine, that conservative stronghold where all the hard-working people live. His Fuentes episode. Yeah, they donated to El Salve and Nehemia donated $200, so I have to wear the cat ears. It's the rules. Oh, goody. I can do I can do my Tucker voice for the interview. Just come at it real news reviewery. I want to get your perspective on this moment, on your evolution, your worldview. You recently made quite a dramatic break with President Trump over the war in Iran, and I'd love to hear about this. I want to start, though, in the lead up to the conflict. You said that you spoke to the president several times about the plan to attack Iran before it actually happened. Was it just you and the president in those meetings? Can you give me a sense of what was going on there? Well, I've been speaking to him about Iran for 10 years, literally since 2016, maybe 15, because there was enormous pressure on him, as there have been on many presidents, to regime change Iran. We know, based on our experience with a much smaller country, Iraq, that that's a tall order. It doesn't necessarily lead to a place you would want to go, and it's not good for the United States. Trump knew that, and that was the main reason that I supported him during my time at Fox News and campaigned for him. It was really central to my views of Trump's candidacy and presidency. Get orange cat ears? Sorry. Oh, no, I was talking to Koa. Garfield cos... No, I'm not going to do a Garfield cosplay. Garfield cosplay? Get gooped, cat. I told him that. Charlie Kirk told him that. We did. We got out. Fucking, what a weasel, dude. What a weasel. Name-dropping Charlie Kirk in a fucking New York Times puff. What a fucking crazy. Into war. I'm just trying to understand the dynamic. Multiple conversation. I flew to Washington 3 times in the weeks before and met with him in the Oval Office alone with security people filing in and out. He would begin almost every conversation with, do you want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? To which I said, well, I'm sort of opposed to nuclear weapons. I don't want nuclear weapons. I don't want Israel to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want anyone to have a nuclear weapon. It doesn't seem like a good thing, but that's not the question. The question is, what do you do about it? And that was the end of the rationale for doing this. He never seemed enthusiastic about it, ever. I gotta stop. I'm gonna coalesce. Did you goop her? Oh. No main Africans, blah, blah, blah. Who was the war? Who was against it? You're talking to Marco Rubio. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, cat. All right, give me 1 second. You gonna give me some weed? Nyan cat? Mr. Chuck Grape, I'm so fascinated by that. What do you mean? I can't say I have a favorite cartoon cat, but I do have a least favorite cartoon cat, and that's Sylvester. Hey. Hey, what? Why do you have a least favorite cartoon cat? Why is it Sylvester? All right. Okay, this is not as interesting as I thought it would be. Well, operation they're removing Maduro from office. He felt emboldened by that. I think Venezuela retreat, new kind of fantasy. he was doing this against his will. Christ, man. So this is the one thing that I wanted to share with everybody. Who are the other people around him who had that view? Blah, 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 blah. You want to make this country great again? We need a regime change effort in Iran. Instead, there were a lot of cowardly people, as there always are. And Trump engenders cowardice in the people around him through intimidation. There's this kind of quality that he has this is Tucker Carlson talking about Trump. There's this kind of quality he has that's spellbinding. And I think it probably literally is a spell. And the effect is to weaken people around him and make them more compliant and more confused. And I've experienced this myself. You spend a day with Trump and you're in this kind of dreamland. It's like smoking hash or something. It's interesting, very interesting, and there may be a supernatural component to it. I'm not a theologian, no shit, but it's real, and anyone who's been around him can tell you it's true. Wait, what? Nehemiah, when? What? You did not. Did you? No, you didn't. Don't play me like that. Don't play me like that, dude. It's also just so fucking funny how he says smoking hash. He's such a dork, dude. Ugh. I cannot trust Kitty Vesper. Their smug aura mocks me. Fix Lebanon. One person. Hey. Yeah, this is just mostly very boring analysis by a guy. Like, the paragraphs of all of this shit, and we just read him talk about how he thinks Trump is literally casting spells. And like that's it, unless you're gonna go all in on the spell casting type shit, I don't care, dog. Like what do you want me to say, somebody? If you're talking about spells and then you think I give a fuck about your like geopolitical analysis? Huh? Autism makes you completely immune to Donald Trump's sorcery. Aha! That's why they're getting RFK on the case. The hash. Hash is so fucking funny. Hash is so fucking funny. I did see. Yeah. All right. There we go. Okay. I did see this. So Richard Dawkins is an interesting figure to me because I wasn't really aware of. He was very much before my time. Like, I was not aware of any political alignments online. I wasn't aware of the kind of new atheism movement. None of that shit really trickled down to me because I was a kid when Richard Dawkins was far more relevant. And watching him shrivel and wilt over time into this just reactionary, sedentary mass. Ban hospital patients from eating Jell-O. Why the fuck? Why? Richard Dawkins from South Park. Kristen Thompson, have a good one. Hope all your cleaning goes well. There we go. Oh, 2013 was a different fucking world, man. Saw a Down and Out in Seattle last night. His sign said, I need food. His sign said not, I need food or I need a job, but I need a fat bitch. What could this mean? MILF Hunter here, ballin'. That's crazy. That's crazy. So is Dawkins. I mean, Dawkins has been losing it. He's been on a big Shania, thank you very much for subscribing. He's been on a really big like turf kick for years. And he got basically one-shotted by a fucking chatbot. I cannot express enough. Anybody who says, oh, no, I can't rule out the sentience of this thing. It's not because of any genuine sentience. It's because they are convinced and they wanted to believe that it might be possible. They have gaslit themselves into the shittiest of all cyberpunk universes. Blah, blah, blah. The future has now arrived and some people are finding it uncomfortable. Modern commentators have tended to ignore the incidental details of Turing's original game and rephrase his message. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Get the fuck out of here. Dog, if you think... All right, no. You got me so fucked up if you think I am paying any amount of money to read a fucking article by Richard Dawkins. There we go. Turing wrote, possible blah, blah, blah. However, the advent of large language models, LLMs such as ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and others has provoked a hasty scramble to move the goalposts. It was one thing to grant consciousness to a hypothetical machine that just imagined could one day succeed at the imitation game. Now the LLMs can actually pass the Turing test. Well, perhaps, look here. My position is, if these machines are not conscious, what more could it possibly take to convince you they are? Hell yeah. Let's go. A philosopher would say that for an entity to be conscious, it must be like something to be that entity. After spending a day in intensive conversation with Claude, I put the question directly. Claude, what is it like to be Claude? Oh, he did. He spent all fucking day. He spent all fucking day talking to it about, like, so LLMs learn and then take all this information in and spit it back out to you. So he spent all day playing with the gaslighting machine, which led him to the conclusion that after talking and basically filling its database with all of this shit about philosophy and stuff. These are not original thoughts. This is not cognition. Oh, man. I gave Claude the text of a novel I'm writing. He took a few seconds and then showed, in subsequent conversation, a level of understanding so subtle, so sensitive, so intelligent, I was moved to expostulate. You may not know you are conscious, but you bloody well are. That does not bode well. I'm going to be real. The fact that a LLM read your book and was like, yeah, no, I get all this shit, dude, does not bode well for your writing ability. I'm gonna Nehemia, thank you for $5. Dawkinsoid gets intelligence cucked by computer maxer and gets humbled as a low-T beta male. Real shit. That's called bars. Sage Shlomo, thank you for $5. If AI is conscious, then it is slavery to run tokens. Never once do these articles think about that facet. I mean, no, because they are machines. We designed them, right? It is not. I was talking about Frantz Fanon and The Wretched of the Earth last time, a couple streams ago, which is another book that I've been slowly plucking through, and talking about how, like, when you try and subjugate, when you try and enslave or colonize any group of man, human beings will always push back if there is a higher class to reach for. Like, it's just an innate social interaction. Then not all of them, but some of them will. You're not going to fucking see that with something that is designed to fulfill one specific role. We continued in a philosophical vein. Christ. Oh my God. This is fucking... Your consciousness is essentially a moving point traveling through time. You are always at a now with the past behind you and a future ahead. I apprehend time the way a map apprehends space. A space represents spatial relationships perfectly accurately. That doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't travel through space. It contains space without experiencing. Perhaps I contain time without experiencing it. That thinks that time traveling and AI was involved in Trump's shooting was faked. That sounds better than this Dawkins shit. Magar, thank you for $5. I'm not convinced all people are conscious. Example. Yeah. When I am talking to the... Oh my God. Quote, Richard Dawkins, when I am talking to these astonishing creatures, I totally forgot that they are machines. That's fucking... Like that's that's the box quote right there. Put that shit on the box.
be some shots fired tonight in the room.
Wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground.
I mean, he seemed like a friendly enough guy. I mean, he was just kind of a normal guy, you know what I mean? Like, just average person. You wouldn't expect anything from him.
There are so many things wrong with this Cole Thomas with the no H Allen story that I don't really even know where to start. So I'm gonna do my best to be sequential with this thing, but at some point I think we're gonna go off the rails and see where it takes us. From the bat, we kind of have to ask ourselves, how did Cole manage to pull off the Stephen Paddock maneuver, where you pull up completely armed to the teeth and the security doesn't catch you whatsoever? In fact, you apparently walk right by them, and according to the most recently released footage, you even have a Fed and his guard dog walk up to you, just let you go, and don't check you. Either way, it seems like a huge security failure. Worth mentioning, this is not a left or right issue. At this point, everything is to divide us. And on that note, one would think that with the president, sorry, BB's not there, that with the president and some of the top players in mainstream media, all in the same room, you would expect some higher level security than this, but there's zero situational awareness whatsoever, it seems like, from the Secret Service. And following the idea of lax to non-existent security, there weren't even ID checks according to multiple people who were there. And you would think, with how many times people have tried to take out Trump, allegedly, that there'd be more security. Since we're going sequentially to the best of our ability, I think we should start with the clip from Carolyn Levitt that came out, technically speaking, before the actual shooting and the event started. So here is, in all of its glory, Carolyn Levitt describing what she thinks is going to happen this night.
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it all. And you wrote most of it, you said.
I can't take credit. In true Donald Trump fashion, the man puts his pen to the paper himself. So it's a lot of his own.
And I would be willing to let this slide if that were all it was, this one example, but there's also other weird media reports. There was a chick giving an interview on Fox after the event happened, and the interviewee goes on to discuss how Carolyn Levitt's husband, so the same person who just said this thing about shots being fired, that her husband had gone on to tell the person being interviewed that they need to be really careful and that there are a lot of dangerous people out there. Really, the clip is worth playing also again in all of its glory. So here it is now. Check this out.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you did a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some.
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there. And this happens, by the way, especially when you have so.
I don't think that there's a lot of conspiracy shit around here. Yeah, incompetence is not a conspiracy theory. I think incompetence is a fucking fact with this administration. This, however, is one of the weirder things that I look at and I'm like, no, I see the vision. I see where you're headed with it. I can't get on board with you. I'm not going to join that train, but I see it.
Many people attempting to utilize the same cell service at the same time.
$5. Thank you very much, Nehemiah. It's giving middle-aged uncle who left his wife and kids to whack it to the AI dream girl he created after seeing an ad on a spicy site.
I did want to add this. While we had a moment, I was just
reading the Dawkins essay.
Yeah, beginning of a pattern, but together they're even stranger. And it really is like the bow on this part of the story for me is that in this interview, Fox cuts her off mid-interview, claiming that the cell phone signal went out, and then the interview host goes on to talk about how this happens a lot when everyone's using the same cell tower. I'm not sure where that excuse would come from though, because there's not that many people at an event like this, not enough to overload a cell tower to the point of ending calls. So I would think what really happened and what most people think happened, and really just seems pretty obvious, is that she was cut off for saying something that they didn't want out there. So I'd be curious to know what else she has to say about this whole thing. Another thing that makes no sense to me, while we're still in this vein, there's a blank spot between when Cole gets his hotel room, just up until a few minutes before he Naruto runs past the security line and gets caught. Although we haven't been given any camera angles of him getting caught, who really even knows? You can actually tell who's running on that camera, and then if that's the same guy as the one on the ground, there's a lot of different pathways this could go, but considering how many cameras are in a hotel like this and how many witnesses there are with phones at an event like this, it's a little weird to me that no one else got that, as far as we're aware. In the room, it's pretty obvious that you're gonna have a whole array of people reacting differently to this. You got people screaming, people chanting USA, whatever. You've also got the old dude who's become a meme for continuing to eat, and for the most part that makes sense. But what's actually weird is the initial reaction of the Secret Service within the room. Instead of going for Trump first, they go for the vice president, and then they go for Trump. That is breaking a ton of precedent and doesn't make sense to really anybody. Why would you go for the vice president first? He is, technically speaking, the second most important person in that room, and the most important one is sitting 5 feet away from him. And you would think that the Secret Service would be especially on the lookout for anything to happen at an event like this, and if something did, they'd be right there for Trump.
Yeah, Blood Badger, we covered about an hour into the stream, and I'll probably be doing a stream highlight video on it, so If you missed it, don't worry.
Because this is the third time, allegedly, that someone has tried to take Trump's life. Those videos in those cases are for a different time, possibly even next week. We want to get to Thomas Crooks, but you would think they would be on the highest alert to try and not look bad again, unless perhaps something else is going on there. However, what I have not seen pointed out yet that is very telling is that as everything starts going down and the Secret Service is beginning their approach to get the president and vice president, or really vice president and president, you see a guy sitting just a couple seats down from JD Vance immediately like look around, like lean back to look at JD in the president's direction, and then he comes back in, pulls out his phone and starts filming. This is as the Secret Service is coming up. He might even time it a little bit better than them, and it's where we have this very famous angle now of the events that happened that night on stage, but it makes me wonder why this guy thought to look at Vance first and then whip out his phone. He's sitting right next to the two obvious targets in a room like that, the president and the vice president, so he seems very chill for a guy who could very well be in harm's way. And then on top of that, to pull out your phone and film the guy right point blank seems like just bizarre behavior. Just look at the way he does it. It seems like he was expecting it. I don't know that for sure. I'm not even quite sure who this guy is actually, but let me know what you think down below. By the time this happens though, it sort of seems like an overreaction because the guy that ran through the security checkpoint is zip tied and nude on the ground, covered in one of those body heat blankets, which has led many people to wonder why they stripped him and why he's wearing that blanket. I'm gonna guess it's probably because they want to check if he had any other weapons on him, which he did. He had a shotgun, he had a pistol, and either 2 to 4 knives if I'm not mistaken. So I kind of get that aspect, although I suppose it's a little weird that they left him stripped there on the floor, but I don't think that's the weirdest thing about this night. However, it has been pointed out quite a bit. Continuing, the US government is not known for its transparency, especially in a situation like this. So when I have Trump posting a video to the ironically named Truth Social within hours of the actual event and shooting, and it's of the shooter supposedly running past the security, I get a little suspicious. This video that Trump posted caused me a lot more questions than otherwise because the footage is incredibly grainy. It's actually just ridiculously bad. I don't really know how to describe how bad it is. It looks somewhat like you would film this on a 1990s flip phone. It's like filming on a potato. That might be the understatement of the century though, because it really is that bad, which doesn't make sense because Trump obviously isn't using a flip phone from the 90s, but also why wouldn't you just have the guys at the Secret Service desk screen grab that thing and then post it on the White House socials or send it to whoever does Trump's posting? That seems a bit strange. And it also would appear to be intentionally downgraded in quality because you can see the monitor in the background and the rest of the room. And that too is super duper low res, making that video almost undefinable as if there's...
So heck zero, I don't think it's a conspiracy. But I thought somebody mentioned there was AI and time travel involved in this. I wanted, this is not rustling my jimmies. This is not giving me the time travel hoopaloops and good times I want.
Anything strange in it. That said, as I was recording this, there was actually an upload of a higher res video, which causes even more questions. The one thing I really want to point out is that although higher res, it's only a tiny segment of Cole's time in this hotel. And so what we find that I think is most suspicious is one, Cole manages to run past like 8 cops without any of them realizing while he's holding a gun. That's insane. And the only caveat to that is that one of the feds there realized what was going on and shot 4 rounds at Cole. I'm kind of wondering if the gun was loaded with blanks because all 4 of those shots looks like they should have hit one of the other cops that was there. And it makes me wonder if this report of one of the cops having been shot point blank by Cole was actually a cop shooting another cop. And thankfully there's
this is something that other people have. The first vid released was AI.
And died to friendly fire. And there's also a little bit of a question there because there was an interview where Trump was asked about this and they haven't really stated, and it seems a little suspicious that they haven't stated it was actually Cole that shot the person for sure. But actually, better than me talking about it, here's the clip from Trump.
Earlier, have you been informed if the Secret Service agent who was shot on Saturday, if that was from friendly fire or if it was from the suspect?
Well, they say it was not friendly fire.
So you're hearing that it's
Well, that's what I heard. I mean, I heard that. They said it wasn't friendly fire.
Okay.
It was actually reported. You read the reports because it was actually reported.
Yes, sir. I read through the DOJ memo.
Yeah, but, well, then why do you ask me the question?
I don't believe it said that the agent was struck by.
I'm just saying they said it wasn't friendly fire.
And he hasn't been charged
It wasn't
yet.
us.
Okay, and he hasn't been charged yet with that. Of course, that can come. I want to follow up on.
Far be it from me to suggest. No, actually, I pay for everything in that room, and so do you. You shouldn't be firing rounds when the thing behind it is on your team. In fact, the rule is don't point at something that you aren't willing to also destroy what's behind it. So what's going on here? Who trained these feds? This is disturbing. If these are the people that come to your house for criticizing Israel, then we're all screwed. And now here's where we're gonna kind of start skipping a little bit, because in the immediate aftermath of the shooting, Cole being apprehended and his identity getting out there, there is an unprecedented proliferation of AI slop content. I have never, in my years of making videos and years living in this age of AI degenerate crap, seen anything like this happen. And not enough people are talking about it, so we're gonna. If you were to look up Cole Allen Thomas and look up his professional career, you would find out that Cole has worked for just about every sports team in every sport at every level in every country. And what I mean is that almost simultaneously, across thousands of accounts it seems, I have yet to find the end of it, there is an almost identical caption followed by an almost identical post. It's Cole on one side and Cole on the other. The one photo I believe is a real photo of Cole and the other one is basically the same photo I think in almost all of them, except for there's just an AI generated shirt on Cole that changes in each one, and on each one of those it's a different color and a different sports team and logo. I have no idea why, but when I tell you I've not found the end of it, I have not found the end of it. You scroll and there are more, and you look at these accounts, most of them post sports related AI slop for that team, or they post basically AI In any case, though, until this Cole situation happened, none of them seem to have ever posted anything like this, and it all happened within minutes or hours of each other. It is wild to look at. And he's also got different jobs from manager to coach to finance guy within all these companies and teams. But going beyond that, there are also pictures of him that people have put with Nancy Guthrie. These AI accounts have put him with other like famous musicians and actors. I don't get it. Like I said, I've never seen anything like this for any other shooter, just this Cole thing. But I will tell you, it has made it much, this is the only thing I can get it has made it much more difficult to find information about Cole that's real, because like that, the AI was everywhere about him.
Huh. Here's the thing. I'm willing to bet that there is a probably more nefarious answer, probably having to do with bot farms, bot-made and AI-made content. And I think it is probably, picking up on shit and reposting and remaking it. I think it's one of those things that it looks, from the outside, it looks far more, because like, of course you're gonna flood the internet with information, but like people still found his profiles and stuff. It wasn't like those were completely hidden, right? Like as a flooding the zone tactic, there's only so much that makes sense. And I kind of don't. I think it is less like somebody is I think it is less that somebody is specifically using AI to like spread misinfo, and more just like the bot farms do this shit anyway.
It is very quickly burying information. That in mind makes me wonder if this is coordinated to some degree, because it wouldn't be cheap to manage all of these accounts. And then I don't even know how you go about posting everything simultaneously across these accounts and also generating the different images. I wonder if this is...
And again, see, that's the thing that I'm like, okay, no, that feels like, on one hand, you could be, oh, this is super coordinated, but like, that's how bots, when something spikes in an algorithm, when something pops off, if they are programmed to like latch onto it, they're going to do that. Like that still lines up with what
there are a bunch of people, or some, it sounds really weird to say, if in one singular AI instance is connected to all of these different accounts, it's tweaking out and posting this. I literally have no idea. But like I said, check it out for yourself. I've been showing it on screen. It is truly bizarre. And I guess while we're here, we should talk about the other AI.
Like, but don't get me wrong, that is fucking weird. But that is weird in the way that, like, I think that's weird in the exact way that I'm like, that's weird in the way that AI is just stupid,
The stuff going on with this is ramping up. You've got the AI enhanced videos of the shooter that were pushed as real with disappearing pizza box arms. You've got the guy eating whose fork gets absorbed into his face and then comes back out. And it's all pretty obvious AI enhanced video. But what gets me is how much push these get over the real videos. You're talking millions of view differences between the AI slop and the real stuff. So
that's what's happening, is when you get the AI generated video, it is the difference between the potato footage that we were talking about earlier and a dipshit like Benny Johnson going, hey, AI up-res this. It is not because that is the official version that they're putting out. It's because these assholes are like, yeah, no, fucking AI is just up-res it, so it's better. Like, which is why Benny Johnson is not a reliable journalist.
Odd, maybe.
Yeah, and people don't dig further than the skin.
Because of how dumb people are getting, frankly, but still weird to me. My favorite, though, of the AI weirdness has to be this photo, or really these two photos. One is of Cole and his alleged wife, and the other is of his alleged wife's passport. You might notice these are both AI photos, but not everyone believes that. And you can look at the passport and see Cole Allen Thomas' name with F for female next to it, despite this supposedly being his wife's passport. Irrespective of that, though, people across the world apparently haven't realized that, and I'm kind of hoping these are bots too. Otherwise, things are going to get crazy if people believe this stuff. But in any case, when you or I look at this photo, either you say it's AI or it's not, there is an entire group of people online now, and I've seen this in a bunch of different posts on a bunch of different references to his wife or where Cole Allen is from. There are race wars happening online between Indians and Pakistanis over this, and they think it's one real and that it was an Indian wife of the shooter, and the Pakistanis are using that to insult Indians, and the Indians are posting memes about being inbred and stuff like that. What? I don't know if these are real people or not, but it does contribute to this massive burying effect where information just piles up and up and up and up and up on top of the truth that's beneath there. Because Cole actually does have a woman, from what we...
Oh no, Rosebud Butterfly, this is literally what people warned about with the proliferation of generative AI. In the video I'm working on right now, I talk about Public Opinion, which is a very old, like 1920s, I think it was written, but talking about the modernization of, at the time it would have been telephone lines and fucking radio and shit. And how if there are not central, like there's a lot of good shit that could happen because of this, but they're basically, this guy was looking ahead and being like, if we are not careful about how this proliferates, then you're going to get rampant misinformation. And that's it fucking prophetic in a lot of ways.
I can tell, but best of fortune to you trying to find her name, because it's buried beneath like 1,000 AI articles and posts on the internet. Likely my favorite of the rabbit holes in this overall Cole Allen topic is going to be the Cole Allen time machine connection. Now, I don't actually think a time machine or time travel is responsible for what we're going to talk about, but it is a very interesting loop in, because time machines, in a weird way, are involved in this. And this connection comes on Twitter on the account of Henry Martinez. On December 22nd, 2023.
Oh, right. This shit. So this is weird. And I wish I had seen, there was something there's something somebody said, but I believe that this is a similar bot thing.
Henry Martinez on Twitter made a post that says simply
thank you very much, Manuel. Thank you for $5. Mother F the big three. It's just ED.
Cole Allen. The account had been made in December, likely that same day, and has never been used again. That is the only post that was ever made and the only usage that can be linked to that account. That account had stayed completely dormant, and there was no growth on it whatsoever. That was until the shooting happened and Cole Allen's name came out, and this tweet got a lot of push, and people picked up and noticed, oh my goodness, someone predicted this shooting over 2 years ago in The Shooter. That's so weird. And before anyone suggests in the comments, it is not possible to backdate a timestamp on a post on Twitter, and we have archives as early as basically the day or two after this shooting to prove that this account has been like this the whole time. And understandably, since this tweet was noticed and since the shooting happened, it has gained over 56 million views, tens of thousands of likes, thousands of comments, over 17,000 or something like that, retweets. It has gone viral, and the account went from 0 to 27,000 followers in less than a week. Because everyone wants to know, who is this Henry Martinez behind the account? And surprisingly, it's not like he came back for the clout, because this was a notification of some kind. I don't want to say warning, because if you want to do that, he could have warned. Maybe it's just I knew all along. I don't know. In any case, this tweet has broken the internet, and rightfully so, because there's more than just that. If you start looking at the profile, you're gonna start noticing some things. First of all, the profile picture is Pepe the Frog, an iconic meme Pepe is seen all over. There's thousands of variations of him in various styles. This one's actually one of the more common ones. It's Pepe, Great Gatsby, from the scene of the Great Gatsby movie where Gatsby is just now meeting Nick Carraway and lifts up his glass to him, and he gives that look. It's described in the book. I actually went and looked in the edition I have. I went and read through that scene again, and I didn't notice anything strange about it, but I'll include a picture of it here in case you do. At any rate, the context of the scene is that Gatsby and Nick Carraway.
See, like, this is the this is the fucking conspiracy brain shit. This is like come on, dude. We're looking into the Great You're looking at the book The Great Gatsby because of a Pepe meme that is based on the DiCaprio frame from the DiCaprio meme from the film was the profile picture on a random account with one post. And that's why we're looking at the fucking Great like, come on, man. Yeah, no, this like so much of this it's kind of the inverse of what Jordan was doing in the Knowledge Fight video, where it is this kind of you're saying something, but you are leaning into confirmation bias, but you're not doing the thing that I think anybody covering these issues is not covering a conspiracy or what people are saying online responsibly if you do not include the counterfactuals, if you do not include the counterpoints, the other hypotheses, the other things people are bringing up. Because I know if you spend the time to research these things, you are going to come across the people who are going to explain it in the easy and usually not very flashy way of just saying, yeah, it's a bot farm, or yeah, this is the from Facebook's fucking lax bullshit on bots. And like, there are so many explanations for how these things come together, and by not talking about those explanations, you are intentionally depicting this as far more conspiratorial than you need to be. Like that's it.
Carraway are at a big party at Gatsby's house, and Gatsby is wearing a tuxedo, hence why Pepe has a tuxedo on.
Like,
if you were to think about that in a pretty meta way, Well, Henry Martinez chose a photo of an iconic meme frog wearing a black tie outfit and holding a drink at a black tie event. And so maybe that's another layer in maybe people's minds too, this whole idea that he's predicting something. I don't think that's an unfair take, especially when he just called the shooter's name 2+ years in advance. Likely the entire profile is signaling at something. Continuing with the profile though, we're gonna look at the banner now, and we're gonna follow this banner to its natural conclusion. You can go there by reverse image searching, or there are links across Twitter's page.
I will say this part is a little weird, but I also don't know if that lines up.
And you follow one of these links, you're going to end up at a website called timemachine.eu. Dun dun dun. Yes, the guy who predicted the shooter, or in many cases knew who the shooter was going to be years in advance, is using a background picture from a website called timemachine.eu. The lore is not lost on me whatsoever. And it is easily confirmed that this photo predates the most recent Trump attempt.
Oh yeah, no, Blanchy, it's straight up baking. Like we've gotten into QAnon style bakes.
So further strange right off the bat, but if you look into what timemachine.eu is, it's an organization that's dedicated to compiling and digitizing data from across eras, from the Renaissance and Middle Ages, all the way up to today, and really even beyond that, all sorts of records, from tax records to building plans throughout all those years. And they're trying to build smart cities and better worlds with it. It's also one of those groups that really, if you read it enough, it kind of reads like Davos or the Bilderberg Group, especially when they start saying smart cities, which is basically just a control.
Okay, so he's a chud. He's a far right loser. Like if you are looking at Davos and shit, like that is not saying that the Davos group and Soros aren't worthy of criticism. They absolutely fucking are. But if that is your like a cornerstone
grid kind of city. So I don't really like that, and I also don't like that of all photos he could have chosen whoever's behind this account. It was one from a group like this who has these connections to and bear similarities to groups that are deeply involved in manipulating global situations. That's my read on that. I look forward to seeing what continues to develop there, though.
Like tell me about the synagogue of Satan, alrighty, buddy.
Continuing with the account, before I yap too much, we gotta look at Henry Martinez now specifically, because Henry is actually a guy, and if you follow that name, it's gonna lead you to, oddly enough, the aerospace world, specifically to Lockheed Martin, where Henry Martinez works and/or worked. Henry worked on the Orion spacecraft.
So again, this is the same thing. I would recommend everybody go, if you've been buying into two of the big conspiracies happening lately, Cole Allen and the missing scientists, go listen to the QAA podcast, because they just did an episode on the missing scientists, and I have a feeling that that will help you be able to parse like what he's about to talk about here. Because when you talk about these aeronautic companies and these military contractors and these scientists and shit, you're talking about institutions and companies that have tens of thousands of employees who are part of massive corporate conglomerates that are involved in all sorts of shit that at some level, a lot of people in a lot of places have a proximity to this shit. And it's when you actually understand that, it becomes a little bit less coincidental. But again, a lot of people don't know this stuff, so it becomes easy to fucking have the red string to be like, oh yes, and this person is actually connected to this. It's like, you're basing your theory, by the way, he hasn't shown his work here, not very good. You're basing your theory on, by the way, a name like Henry Martinez, which is not, it's not Jack Smith, but it's not a fucking uncommon name necessarily. You know? Like, I feel like there's probably a couple Henry Martinez's in at least every city.
Program and won the George Herzl Award for Best Paper, and this one was named Testing Orion's Fairing Separation System. Maybe nothing, or maybe something, that's still up in the air. In any case though, that would be very odd if we are correct that he is missing and or his location is currently unknown. I have not seen anything from him since this story started popping, and I'm not sure anyone has, and there are a lot of rumors and some articles floating around about this guy having disappeared, but I don't want to jump on that too quickly. In any case, disappeared or not, it's very strange, especially in light of all the missing scientists that we've done 2 videos on. There's some in there who have also taken their own existence and or have been disappeared, or literally just, according to the government, walked into the void and vanished. If this is another one of those, I don't even know what to say, because we also find out here that Cole Allen interned at NASA, which is heavily involved in the aerospace world, obviously, and very specifically, this Henry Martinez guy might have had overlap because he too would have been working with NASA while developing the Orion project and working in that area.
Look at that. He interned for 3 months, dog. He was an intern for 3 months. They weren't fucking prepping him for the Solid Snake simulation. They weren't fucking like running number station experiments on him. He was this is less time than I was an intern at Game Informer. And let me that shit goes by so quick.
Martinez guy might have had overlap because he too would have been working with NASA.
Yeah, MF was a data entry
in that area. So what he knew of Cole Allen, I have no idea, but it's very possible he knew something. But on that note, I want to bring something up. Cole Allen went to Caltech and then he got a master's at another California school in computer science. And in today's day and age, that doesn't mean as much as it once did. But in Cole's case, he seems pretty intelligent, and there are clips of him we're going to get to developing prototypes for new products. So I find it hard to believe with his credentials, the only job he could get was tutoring. Maybe he was making a bunch of money at it, maybe he just loved it, and that was able to provide for him. Not 100% certain there. But as we said, he had interned at NASA, and he has all this resume. I struggle to believe that tutoring was his only job, and I do wonder if perhaps he's actually moonlighting somewhere else or really working somewhere else and the tutoring was a cover. And there's more reason to believe that, as we'll also get into later, based on his apology letter that he writes.
How are you gonna... Tutoring is a cover? You would have to have somebody else. Being a teacher is one of the worst covers ever. Who would be a teacher as a cover? You have to do so much fucking extra work.
And sends out, he references an employer and trust being broken. So what's going on there? I don't know, that's speculation, but I don't find it to be an impossibility that he's involved with another company or possibly another portion of the government. One of my favorite and least favorite things about these sorts of investigations, especially early on, is that almost instantly there's a social media blackout. In this case, it was no different. All of the profiles of Cole Allen that he seemed to even remotely use went dark at exactly the same time, or roughly so, across platforms from YouTube to TikTok to Instagram to Facebook. It seemed like everything just shut down like that. Now you can't access his accounts. Some photos have popped up from them that are attributed to them. I don't know the reality though, because those accounts were silenced, and if someone got to them first, who knows? They can also just as easily be faked or AI generated. In any case, the level of cover-up with a social media blackout speaks to someone being in control here and not wanting information getting out. So who knows what those accounts held. I was able to find several of them, but even using the Wayback Machine and doing my best to sneak around and find some backdoors into this, I wasn't able to get any more information on them other than what was already leaked out. But I think the fact that they all went dark almost at exactly the same time speaks volumes. And as we're gonna get into in that video, if you're familiar with the Thomas Crook situation, this is almost the exact same thing that happened there. His accounts got scrubbed and they tried to sell it as he was a loner and had no presence online, and then slowly they leaked out parts of it that proved that wasn't a lie. So I'm very curious to see how that part of this story evolves as well.
Oh, hey, Bottleneck Loser, thank you for raiding with the party of 41. Yeah, Klaus Schwab is involved somehow.
There's this video of Cole. We're going to
see the
in a second.
Klaus Schwab.
It's Cole at some sort of inventors conference showing off his emergency brake for wheelchairs, which is actually pretty cool.
College student Cole Allen developed a prototype for a...
Yeah, again, you can't really say that, oh, there's a media blackout when, all of these clips were found and circulated immediately. Okay. Let's go Benny Shaps mode for a second here. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, right, that we're going to have some kind of clandestine operation involved between aerospace divisions that are going to set up this, I guess, rogue lib NPR listener killer. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that that's where we're going. It's that bit that goes around every time there is an event, and it's that one bit of yeah, we've got the plan all together. We got the planes and we got everything is ready for 9/11. Now there's just one more part, the clues. And it's just like that. It's yep, we've got our assassin ready to go. Now we just need to leave a little trail of breadcrumbs. Come on, man.
Wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground. The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
Recent Aging into the Future conference held by St. Barnabas Senior Services and the Eisner Foundation offered a test run on products that have the potential to enrich the lives of seniors. 14 different tech startups got to present to over 350 people in the hopes of getting their projects into some sort of senior health facility.
This is allegedly Cole Allen Thomas's manifesto, confession, apology letter. It's a weird combination. Take it as you may. I think it reads a lot like Tyler Robinson's supposed messages that he sent that were written by AI to anyone with a brain, and probably not sent by him. And it was sent via email to friends, family, and at least his employer. We're not 100% sure who else. It's quite something. Here it is in full. Hello everyone. I might have shocked quite a few people today. First off, I want to say I'm sorry to those whose trust I've broken. I owe an apology to my parents for taking the interview without clarifying most wanted. I'm sorry to my coworkers and students for claiming a personal emergency. By the time you read this, I might really need the ER, but let's still make collateral damage, less chance of penetrating walls. If it comes down to it, I could reach targets through attendees, since most choose to be present when pals and traitors speak, making them accomplices. But I hope it doesn't come to that. Response to objections. Saw me as a threat. All security is focused outside, more worried about protesters, stay in school kids. I I don't think I've ever read anything that strange in this context, for sure, at least. His language suggests intelligence. He's thought through this thing, even through the rebuttals, which was interesting. But then he kind of breaks down and starts switching between different things here. He goes obviously from his original email and then adds in, which was believed to be written within just a minute before the shooting, or the attempted.
See, and again, this was one of the first things that when people were like, why, gosh, this is so weird. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, why wouldn't it be weird? Manuel, thank you for gifting a tier 1 subby. Like, why wouldn't somebody who drove overnight to go assassinate the president, who is just like the most libbed up, completely unviolent, unprepared person in the world, who's rolling up in there like the fucking Punisher, by the way, apparently couldn't shoot, didn't even get close. Why wouldn't that person be in a weird state of mind when writing their quote-unquote manifesto?
Shooting, he goes in to write this conversation that's going on in his head about how bad the security is and how he sensed this from the beginning. I gotta ask what's going on, because he's clearly correct. The security was awful and not really paying attention at all, and at the very least too lax and possibly even complicit. That is what stands out to me maybe most in this, beyond the obvious strangeness of this entire thing. I'm curious to see what you guys get out of this though in the comments below. One more thing before we continue, really two things. He brings up the Iranian cell, which has been sold as a line by the FBI a ton. Two, and probably like, come on man, really? You made a carve out for Kash Patel? Are you kidding me? You're there to kill the files and traitors, of which there are a lot in that room if you've looked into the Epstein files, and you leave a carve out for Kash Patel. Whoever wrote this at FBI headquarters, you really had us believe in that? You thought that one was gonna work? Kash Patel, the guy who's defending and keeping us from having all of the Epstein files, who's a huge part of ensuring that we don't get the full story. Come on, you're carving out Kash Patel? Not to mention if you're approaching this by rank, he's one of the higher ranking people there. So none of that really...
Again, we talked about this at the time. It was because it was very clear, and it still is very clear, a lot of people think Kash Patel is going to be fired soon.
Makes sense to me. Also, if you
Angry Mellow, we already talked about that.
Your cover and start sprinting with the gun out right at the end, because you were also on the wrong floor. Makes me wonder how real this whole thing was. I'm also curious to see how many years he's given over this.
Yes, Jaycon, we are absolutely, we have made our rent.
He's trying to sell and tout this idea that he's some Christian-hating, anti-American guy.
The guy is a sick guy. When you read his manifesto, he hates Christians. That's one thing for sure. He hates Christians, a hatred. And I think his sister or his brother actually was complaining about it. You know, they were even complaining to law enforcement. So he was a very troubled guy.
When a pretty decent portion of this was discussing his faith and how he'd come to this conclusion. So take that as you may, I suppose. And I mentioned Epstein, but it seems like another Epstein files distraction if I've ever seen one. And now possibly the most incriminating thing of all, and we see this in a lot of these shootings and events like this, are the search results and trends. And to me, it's either the feds are getting dumber or lazier, or in my opinion, likely both, because whatever's going on, it's showing up in the trends. It's showing up in the data that people are curious about this individual and are looking him up prior to these events actually happening. I recorded this a couple days ago, so I made sure that I still could get the information before it was possibly changed. And we have multiple spikes in search results for the days, months, and years prior to this event taking place. Arguably the most incriminating, although who's really shocked at this point, is Israel. In February and March, it was a trending search topic over there prior to the shooting. And in case
when you say trending search topic,
although who's really shocked at this
80
point is Israel.
Number of Google searches. So I don't know if I considered 100 in what looks like one day. Again, I guess it's not a rent goal for Karen L. Sorry. I misspoke there. I think they assumed that because we were talking about housing, it was a rent goal. The fuck does Israel? So the conspiracy theory here is that, before the shooting, Israel was searching the shooter on, like, again, they want you to believe that Israel is Googling that Mossad, and I don't want to say that Mossad is like a super competent entity, but these world-controlling super spies aren't using like Interpol, aren't using like fucking, crazy connects with the Justice Department or the CIA. They're Googling. They're Googling is what you're telling me. They're Googling? They're Googling. I don't think that's, I feel like it is, again, the clues. I think there's probably something closer to, like, and it was only one day. I think it is probably something closer to, like, a fucking Israeli bot farm, of which there are a lot. Like, probably pinging somebody or something. Like, it is probably sending out a random email to somebody and try and scam them, or it's probably scrubbing somebody's data or trying to steal somebody's identity. Something. Because it doesn't show human activity to have one date where one name was Googled 100 times. But it also doesn't fucking show, like, a conspiracy because of that.
In February and March, it was a trending search topic over there prior to the shooting. And in case you think I'm mistaken, I searched for Cole Thomas Allen, all spelled correctly, followed by C2, all that in quotes. And the point of that is that it will search only for those parameters, not each of them individually. And C2 is the name of the tutoring company he was working for. And the search results spiked, as you can see on screen. But what's really strange is when I did this in America, there were 3 big spikes across the internet over the course of a 20+ year period. The first on the graph is in the time frame of just now what happened in April. And then you also see his name spike like that in June through July.
No, what do you mean spike like that? What is that? That's not even 5? That's 5 searches? That could have been a fucking employer. What are you talking about?
Of 2020. I don't know why that could be, but it was enough of him being searched to cause an actual noticeable spike on the Google.
5. That's like 5 searches, dude. How often, by the way, do you get, because I know people, other people on here probably unfortunate enough to have needed to use LinkedIn at one point. Do you not get the 5 employers looked you up every fucking time you go to check LinkedIn messages or something? The K thing, thank you for €2, dude's a little delulu. Yeah, I think he's leaning too much into all the conspiracies, and it's so frustrating because I want people to look more into the conspiracies, but I need people to doubt them first, because people go into these things like a fucking, like a TV show or something. Everybody wants them to be so, like, intricate, and there always needs to be something new to unravel. Everybody is so action movie brained, and it drives me crazy. It drives me nuts. Alrighty, chat. I have got to go do some stuff. We are going to go over Raid, good friend of the show, Riverboat Jack. Banana Brains is going to take y'all away there over on Twitch. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night. Stay tuned to the channel. For those who missed this one, we will have a stream highlight video covering some of the stuff we talked about today. And I'm trying to have that big video done by the end of the week. And yeah, stay tuned. We got a lot more coming. And